We're live. I'm live. Joe is live. We're here to talk about men, progressive men.
Hmm. Yeah, because especially because last time we had talked about men, right? Like about I was talking more from like the angle of uh, how they might, like, for example, not see much of a reason to look at female romantic relationships the same, and that they might prioritize homosocial relationships with men more, and that this sort of the if there was a romantic era might be dying out.
Which
That
that's not a bad thing,
it isn't
even
necessarily a bad
independent of
thing.
whatever's going on with male-female relationships. I think
It,
men
it
need their buddies.
it can be good or bad depending on what we make of it, as it is with everything. And but curiously, as this is going on, maybe there's some connection here, whether it's causal or they're both uh, stemming from an even deeper cause that we may not yet be able to define. um, Progressivism, as it's understood today, is very different from progressivism as the term was originally coined and popularized just over a century ago. And so I think one of the big things that differentiated it was the fact that progressivism was a very masculine brand of politics that was seen from the period of about 1898 to 1920. That's usually, like, when you look at a history book and they say, well, this is the progressive era, they're talking about that span of years. Um, and today, to associate masculinity with the word progressivism would confuse a lot of people. They see it as a very, feminine thing.
Yeah,
Um,
or feminized.
yeah. And so you might wonder to what extent feminism or progressivism changed, or if this thing we call progressivism is even connected, and there just happen to be the same word used for different things that are not related at all. Um, and so let's examine the progressive era. It happened on the heels of what was called the Gilded Age, which was from basically the end of the Reconstruction era. So the Reconstruction era was roughly the decade after the Civil War, up until 1898. And that was the period in which uh, the United States essentially is reunified internally after the Civil War. It doesn't have that same division. That matter is settled. It's expanding across the continent, um, and it's gaining importance on a global stage. And then the Industrial Revolution is really taking off. And as it's expanding, these very large corporations start forming. This is why it's called the Gilded Age, because there's a lot of power and wealth coming out, but it wasn't necessarily felt by all Americans, hence the term gilded, meaning it is gold plated rather than it is a golden era. There's a lot of, you can point to folks like the Rockefellers and be like, look at how great things are going, but there were a lot of problems dealt
Ow.
with the common man. And so this was, also a period in which the 19th century in general um, saw the migration of people from rural small towns toward more densely packed urban areas. This is sort of when you start to have slums in an actual sense of the word. So there was that. And then, of course, there were a lot of the declining living conditions in spite of the increasing technology, which, you would think the technology improves living conditions over time. So things related to sanitation, but also just the fact that a labor became more competitive. There's a lot more people in one place to work a job. And so the response to this was people started unionizing, pooling their labor, collective bargaining, to not only get paid better, but to improve their working conditions. This is basically when there was no health and safety standards in factories. You have uh, the trope of kids losing their arms in a factory machine. Like 5 or 6 year old
They should have
kids.
been in school.
Right, but like they couldn't go to school because if you didn't have every kid working, the family um, is destitute and they can't, afford housing or food or anything. And so this is why it was gilded, because there were very wealthy super millionaires, essentially, as inflation adjusted, wealthy as billionaires today, looking fancy and proper, but it was happening, on the backs of uh, you know, uh, heavily exploited working class. So this,
Yeah, people would make the same claim today.
yeah, and that was in the urban side. But on the rural side, this is what's interesting about the progressive era: is it was not an urban-rural divide. So on the urban side, as the progressive era begins, you have leaders like Theodore Roosevelt sort of coming to the front and representing that. He's sort of like the reform-minded urban progressive.
We
In
need
the
to do
rural
something
side,
about this.
yeah, basically. On the rural side, representing the breadbasket evangelical part of America, their issue was with the big banks and the railroads, because they were the ones buying up land, um, and putting a lot of heavy loans on farmers, um, that were difficult to repay, and they were kind of predatory loans and things like that. The railroads were often um, getting land at bad prices, and just usually most of the local communities were not happy with the impacts of the railroads going through them. And so William Jennings Bryan, so Theodore Roosevelt was a Republican, William Jennings Bryan was a Democrat. He begins leading the progressive movement in the Democratic Party, drawing on the rural base. So but they both wanted to challenge corruption of big money influencing politics. Um, bribery was actually kind of a legal thing back then, and so there was actually attempts to deal with that on both sides. And so the interesting thing about progressive era politics, and again, this I'm just picking like the two most prominent ones, right? But you had these very two high profile, like personality driven movements of these men, Roosevelt and Bryan. And they were pulling together liberals and conservatives. So what's interesting about progressivism then, it was more character and temperament based. It was not seen as left or right wing. You could be a liberal or a conservative progressive. Even Theodore Roosevelt considered himself a conservative, and he was the most prominent progressive president in that era. And to his view, to be a conservative, you had to be a progressive. And a lot of it was coming from the point of view of, because progressivism is just sort of variously used to talk about um, implementing social change for the greater benefit of society. But it was happening in the context of, look what happened in the 19th century. We went from starting that from being a more agrarian society to the changes I mentioned before. And so there were all these advancements in industry and science that happened. So in one sense, these changes happened. There was more industry and science. There were railroads. There were more people going to urban areas, more people working in factories than on farms. These changes happened, and they were not going away, but they were not working for us. And so the idea was not so much we're going to contort some sort of idealized change based on whatever our utopian vision of the future is, but rather changes have happened. We have not integrated them into human nature very well. And we need to make some changes to ensure that they're working for us and not just for the people who get rich off of it. And so this is when you see the origin of basic labor standards in laws, like the 40-hour work week. You can't have children work in factories. Labor unions get more powerful as well, and they have some rights in law. There's a lot more anti-corruption laws put in place. Basically, a lot of the anti-corruption laws that exist today, where basically you can't bribe a congressman, happened in this era. And the introduction of trust-busting legislation to break up monopolies happened in this era. So this is why.
And this was all men, driven by men. Where were the women in all this?
Well, so women could not vote at this time. To the extent that women had clout in societies, and I'm going to get to this in a bit, they did it usually through women's clubs and groups. So a good example of one that was very prominent and powerful in the South for pretty much up till about I'd say probably the 60s or 70s, was the Daughters of the Confederacy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so women's groups actually used to be more of a thing that women used to leverage political power without the vote. And these things could be very effective in organizing for support for things, even though they couldn't vote. And so, yeah, but getting to my other point, these are the things that sort of happen in the context of progressivism. It's like, if these new manufacturing goods are so healthy for society, why are people living in slums? Why are they breathing in soot? Why are children losing arms? So laws were made to prevent these things from happening. And you know what? The benefits of modernity did not go away. We just figured out a way to make sure the incentives align better. That's basically what these things accomplished. And So you had Roosevelt and Taft, who were the Republicans in this period that were presidents, and they were progressives. Then you had Woodrow Wilson as a Democrat, but also a progressive, and he represented William Jennings Bryan more. So, it's unthinkable to think that you could have bipartisan progressivism here. Now, what's interesting is that Theodore Roosevelt, because Bryan never got elected president, he came close, but he couldn't quite pull it off. But Theodore Roosevelt sort of ran on this public image of robust masculinity, and that in itself,
like Trump.
yeah, he did that, and I would say he did that better than. But you just said, right? He did that better than Bryan. Trump did a similar thing, and yet nobody would associate Trump with progressivism.
Right.
We also look at who carried him in this election. Like one of those groups was young men, right? It was mainly Gen X, but if we look at young people, right, young men actually tilted toward him, and that had not been the case, say, for young men when Obama was running. So there's a thing that's affecting young men. There's this something going on with American masculinity.
They're being displaced from society. Like this is their society,
Right.
and they have no foothold in it.
Right. And so even though progressivism is associated with the left, it's the word as it's used today is almost unrecognizable to the past, to the point that you'd even wonder, why is it called progressive? And so people can talk about that. That's not necessarily the thing I'm trying to nail down here, but something is going on, that this disconnect happened, and that one, progressivism is seen as a left-right partisan thing, and two, it's not just that, but it's a masculine versus feminine. So let's talk about the feminine side of the progressive.
Yeah, what happened to it?
So a lot of it went in tandem with the progressive movement, because similarly in the 19th century, and this was related to the rise of industry and manufacturing, you had a lot of these basically these beer companies, these alcohol distilleries that formed, and they were able to produce liquor at an industrial scale, which was just not as easy to do in the past. And additionally, one of the reasons why people started drinking alcohol more in the mid to late 19th century is because when the massive urbanization started happening, and people started getting packed in the cities, health and safety standards declined, and basically your well water had a very good chance of being contaminated by sewage, because there was just so much sewage from all the people there.
Oh, that's so gross. Thank God we have progressives.
Right, and that's what led to the cholera outbreaks. And that was actually the origin of epidemiology was done with tracking the cholera outbreaks and like what led to it. And they determined, cholera is happening where the sewage is leaking into the well water, where you could back in the day, you could go down the street and there'd be like a pump with a well. You could fill up water there.
Oh yeah, the old-timey pumps.
Yeah, so those things, the ones that the neighborhoods that were dying of cholera, those were the ones that were contaminated, and the ones that weren't dying of cholera did not have sewage contamination. And so then they realized, there's something in people that's being transmitted this way, and they were able to. The field of epidemiology that we have today for tracking the flow of all kinds of diseases was born out of the empirical work that was done in tracking this. And this, of course, led to city planning. Like, we have to plan our cities so that the sewage doesn't leak. And so New York City and other places, major metropolitan areas, were completely redesigned across the world in this period as well to accommodate for that. And so there's a lot more. Basically, what's interesting here is when you think about this, there was a lot more belief in that you could use the state intelligently to respond to these problems. And that was something that, again, is interesting, is that it was not a left versus right thing to look at the state that way. People seem to be more of the sense that, we live in a democracy. It's government by the people. Shouldn't we use our government?
So was it the women? Is that what happened?
So let's go to the sewage thing as well, right? So basically, people, the water's contaminated. A drink with alcohol in it, the alcohol kills a lot of contaminants in it.
And it made their husbands violent.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? So you're not dying of contaminated water if you're getting drunk, right? So a lot of people just felt safer drinking that stuff. And that was actually something that was found out during the cholera outbreak, is some of the people who lived in that same area but weren't dying of cholera, they found out what they were drinking. And the guys who worked there, like on the street, worked at the distillery, and they would just drink their ale or whatever, and that
And
was
they
their
were
living.
doing a lot of political organizing through the
Yeah.
saloons too.
Yeah.
That's
So
another reason that they were trying to shut them down
yeah.
because
So
of the political corruption.
there was, combined with the fact that there was a lot more readily available alcohol, plus the fact that people were more incentivized to drink it because the water was contaminated in these urban situations for a good couple decades. You had a rise in alcoholism, and so then there were, as you think about what the traditional married couple was at the time, women were getting beaten up by their husbands who were angry drunks, and like it was a huge social problem. And so these women's groups formed these political advocacy groups in response to that, and they're like, hey, we want to stop getting beaten up by our husbands, we need to do something about this. So the temperance movement was formed to try and ban alcohol, and it's also led to women wanting the right to vote, because it's like, if they can't get the right to vote to change that, it might not change. So that's why these things went along with it. Now the uh, the amendment to the Constitution, I believe, was the 19th Amendment, happened in 1920. So it was like the very last thing in the progressive era. And then the amendment to ban alcohol happened slightly after this as well. And then, of course, that was when we had the
So they
prohibition.
got their power, and then the alcohol went away.
Yeah, they got their power. The alcohol went away. The Constitution was actually amended to do this, and then it led to the creation of the mafia. And then
Yeah,
folks realized, oh, that was a bad
we
idea.
need our drunk men.
And
We want
so,
our
but
drunk
well,
men
the
back.
organized crime, not that we need drunk men, but the organized crime ended up being an unexpected consequence, and so it was done away with. But I think studies have shown that rates of alcoholism still declined materially, just due to the difficulties that prohibition made it in getting alcohol. And so, because the fact is, you just didn't have it on your shelf quite like you did when it's illegal. Um, and so, so the women had that active role, but it was more as influence, and they get suffrage, they become part of the voting system at the end of it. So it was still something that happened. Everything that happened in the progressive era was done, with the will of male voters, and it was done with the charisma of male leadership. And so, uh, if you look at what progressivism is today, there's much less emphasis on anti-corruption,
Or
um,
charisma.
or let's say, like, a lot of people have been concerned about, say, the power of big tech, and how um, probably straightforward of the existing antitrust legislation that's in effect, for more than a century now, is to bust up big tech, as monopolies, and really no pressure to do that. And then if you even look at, like, to the extent you could say Bernie Sanders has some things in common with the progressives of this era of history, he was often attacked within the Democratic primary for having a campaign that was not friendly to women, or it was a bunch of Bernie bros. And so there was this posing of animosity between the masculine and the feminine in that process, such that um, someone like Bernie Sanders, who you could say is probably had some of the more masculine energy as people in a Democratic primary go.
He should like to yell a lot. Shout
He's
and yell.
definitely, well, he had sort of this righteous anger to
That
him
masculine
that
exuberance.
Trump has, and this kind of, they talk like New Yorkers. They don't clean up their speech really. Trump, of course, is more offensive, but these are the things that were going on. And even though someone like Kamala Harris was considered like, this is what progressivism is going to do to America, I heard a lot of that throughout the year. You might place her next to any of the progressives of that era, and you have a hard time seeing material or central similarities. Um, and so, is this because of other things, or is the unrecognizability of progressivism from today compared to what coined the term due to this rift that's happening between men and women, the masculine and the feminine, in contemporary society? So that's sort
Is
of my question.
progressivism on the ropes? And don't forget the eugenics either. That's Don't leave that out. I
I
don't know
won't
if
leave that
that
out.
came from the men or the women.
I won't leave that. But hold on one moment. I want to pull something out of the oven.
Yeah, or at least that's the thinking that I'm seeing, Dobez. They're going to try. They're going to attempt to shift to actual Marxism. But I'm wondering if how viable of a political force progressivism even is now after the election. It seems like it got roundly rejected. Hey, Manel. So we can talk about Trump. I think he has a place in this conversation. He's a manly man, or to some. He's not my masculine ideal, but I think he has some masculine qualities that serve him. So, um, let's see. Well, I think our progressives are communists. That are a lot of them. I think there's definitely a communist strain. Um, that's part of the problem. Is I think that a lot of them are sincere communists. But all of that, like the tanky side of it, and the pure communist Marxist side of it, those are not really American ideologies to begin with. Like they've never really taken root in the psychological soil of America because it's not consonant with the values that are so embedded in our culture. Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. Okay, yeah. So Jeff, that was like my preface to the observation and what I thought that the key points were, um, connecting the past year to the current. What are your thoughts about all that?
Well, I'm wondering if we even like is progressivism even something to worry about anymore? Like how dead of a movement is it right now?
Well, when I look at like, um, when I think about what progressivism is, right? If we think about it like in um, the old school version,
It
right?
was making government work for the people, like for all the
Right,
people, instead of
right.
the
We
fat
could,
cats at the top.
we could say that version of politics died by 1980. Like to the extent there was anything left of it, it died in 1980. Um, so even though the progressive era, of course, ended well before that, there was certain successors
But
to it, like the New Deal.
wokeness like flared up in some form. Like that was a significant force to contend with for a while. It still is where I am.
Yeah, in certain enclaves, it probably
So
still
I'd
would
love
be.
to pretend that it's dead, but it's like a zombie force that keeps coming
Yeah,
back.
and so, but what's interesting is that like this thing, like when you think about wokeness, right, and you associate that with progressivism, and I mentioned before, like there was essentially wokeness being used to undermine Bernie's campaign in 2016. Targeting him for similar reasons that Trump was targeted. Um, we might wonder like what is progressivism as it's described today, and like why is it using the same word, and how did it veer so much from what um,
Yeah, and
would have
I'm also
become?
interested in the role that the feminization of it played. Once the women got a hold of it, started driving it
Mhm.
around.
And it may be important that Bernie's opponent in the primary was Hillary Clinton, the first female nominee from a major party. Um,
We had Geraldine Ferraro, didn't we? Oh, she was VP. What?
yeah, she didn't get the actual presidential nomination.
Well, she did have a nice lesbian haircut. I don't know if that helped or hurt her at that time.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe when a woman runs, she needs to own her femininity. Because I will say this: probably the most I ever liked Hillary Clinton was after she lost in 2008. Was working for Obama and had her hair in a ponytail and just wasn't too worried about things. Like you could just see it. The way she would just talk, she wasn't in campaign mode. She didn't have a stick up her ass. That seemed like, as you might put it, the her authentic self coming out. That's the Hillary I liked.
Is that do people associate authentic femininity, whatever that even means, with leadership? Though, is that going to communicate a leadership quality? I mean, there's plenty of other countries that elect female
Yeah.
leaders.
I mean, you could argue as well that the UK, who actually has had 3 female prime ministers, but their first, was Margaret Thatcher, and she, wasn't exactly girly. I won't say she like put on like a lesbian facade, kind of like Hillary Clinton is known to do, but she definitely was like kind of an old lady, and she was known for being tough for a woman. They called her, the Iron
The
Lady.
old battle act, the hatchet,
Yeah,
iron. What is it? The Iron Lady.
the Iron Lady. Yeah. Um, So and she had the longest premiership of any prime minister. So like she not only was the first, but like she held power a long time, and she had a way of making her party, do what she wanted and follow her leadership.
Well, I'm like current, like it's people like AOC currently that I think are on everybody's radar as the up and coming progressive star. Is she authentic femininity? She seems hysterical enough to be.
I initially liked AOC, when she first got attention, like when she won her primary in 2018 the first time, and I was hopeful, but you know as I've just seen things unfold, I've noticed like it is really easy just to bait her into a reaction
Yeah.
and make herself look like a fool. And if you're going to be a leader, you can't do that. So um and and also I don't see that really anything is snowballing from her leadership, because it's not like DSA. If there was any hope that DSA might just be young Bernies driving this populist energy anywhere, if any of that was going to snowball from her, clearly that has not happened.
Yeah.
And to the extent that a few more people from DSA got elected, none of them were even as good as AOC in my view. They just seemed like more of just, again, this woke.
Everything seems kind of suspended now. Like there's not really a dominant political force. It's like everybody's waiting to see what happens the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe there's going to be a realignment. But even the really politically active people from the left, I don't hear much from nowadays. I know there's the little, what is it, the woke right or the Christian nationalist, but I don't take that seriously, as I don't think that's going to go anywhere. So I think that's just internet drama more than anything else. So politically, I'm not sure much is happening right now. We seem to be in a lull.
I think you actually make an interesting observation there, because let me swallow my food. But um, so let's talk again about young men and their crisis, right? I don't think the crisis of young men today can be completely explained by the shortcomings of the left, because we're still in this largely or somewhat post-religious society, right? Like if we think about just the aftermath of new atheism, and just the fact that America was already a pretty secular country as countries go, and then that happened as well. A lot of the Republican Party still is the Christian right. That it would be, I think, unfair to characterize it that to be as much as it was, say, when Reagan got elected. But that's still an important part of it. And
Yeah, but I don't. I think it's expanded to where it's only one part of the Republican Party, because even in their new updated platform, the religious part values and agenda, almost none of it made its way into the modern public Republican platform.
I
And
would agree,
20
but
years ago, they would have had the power to get all of their shit in there.
I would agree, but I would also point out it would be difficult for a Republican presidential candidate to get the nomination without winning that voting group, because Trump won that voting group, and that was his ticket to victory. Like, in fact, he depended on that voting group to win. And in primary elections, the evangelicals, the one who believe they're doing God's work, are the ones who show up to vote. And so young men might carry Republican candidates in a general election, but in the primary election, we have to question to what extent is the Christian right serving their interests as well. And I don't expect that a lot of young men, even if they've been put off by the left, look at the Christian right or religiosity as an answer to their problems. Because at the end of the day, you believe this stuff or you don't. And a bunch of blue-haired activists being annoying isn't going to make you think that God is real and that you need to submit yourself to His plan and His will. You still have problems in the meantime. And so I
think they're seeking community, and so I think I know Orthodox is attractive to a lot of, especially the internet, the online version. If Christian religious movements and organizations make themselves attractive as a community that's embracing of young men, that could draw.
I'm not gonna say that's better than nothing, but it's still very different than people who actually believe the stories you tell are the history of the earth and all that shit. A lot of these young men, even if they're like, it's something to do with my Sunday so that I'm less lonely and aimless, That's not the same as I believe this is what's going to happen. I have an immortal soul. This is how I'll be judged. The psychology of that is different. The sense of your meaning in this world is different.
Right, meaning, exactly, meaning. They're looking for meaning. They're looking for a myth or a story that gives their life meaning. And to the extent that religion can still provide that, and there's no other alternative, they're already making use of that. It's
Yeah,
it's
but
not
I'm
even they
saying it's
potentially could, they already are.
I'm saying at the 1 foot in thing, like young men today just do not believe this stuff to the same. If we think
Yeah, but
about,
they don't have to believe it empirically to get the value out of it. Like the value of community, the
I
value
really
of
think
validation,
they do,
affirmation.
because when I listen to like politicians talk and have throughout my life, and they're clearly talking about it from this is what God wants point of view. Republican candidates, working with their traditional base, can do that, and it'll work with that audience. But if you really just don't believe in God or just don't take everything in the Bible seriously, and someone is running on a platform or a vision of America that is very much that, even if you can get along with them in a congregation or something, that just is not going to feel the same. It is not. William Jennings Bryan, if I can talk again about how um, he appealed to folks, he was a pastor. He worked Christian imagery into his speeches. He gave this famous speech called a Cross of Gold speech, um, and he basically painted his taking on of the big banks and the railroads that were exploiting rural America as sort of his Christian mission, and going against something sinful. And the people who don't literally believe in that stuff, because those people did, um, it's a different thing. And so I suspect that, again, while there are certain tactical advantages on the right to not saying we need to talk about toxic masculinity all the time, and that gets them, young men more willing to vote for that side. I wonder, long term, are they going to feel much solution from that?
They seem to be so far. I don't know what other party out there is providing it. Hey, welcome, Manel. What's up? And the panel's open, so if you want to come
Hey
up and
Jeff,
join the conversation,
I,
click the
I
link.
love your conversations actually, both of you. I just wanted to add something about the church. Well, I mean, this is a wide schism. So we
That
have
works for me.
religion, and then we also have our own spirit. So when we actually go and look at our own spirit, and we connect with others that also look at their own spirit, because trust me, I am very grateful. I have got an uncle and aunt that are Mormons, so I totally get it with all the religious stuff, but they are deeply rooted in this, okay? Really deeply. And he's lovely though, trust me, but it's continuously, you must pray to Jesus Christ and say it in these words, and you must say it like this. And I'm like, okay, but I speak to God uh, when I'm on the toilet or when I'm walking down the road or I'm doing the washing up, because that is a true conversation with God. Because when you're talking to yourself, you are talking to God. And you have to go in to um, comprehend what's going on around you. Make sense?
Does he talk back?
Thoughts? Oh
Hey,
yeah,
Bex.
all the time. I mean, really, absolutely. I
That's
literally
interesting. When
get
you're talking to yourself, you're talking to God.
yes. Well, I
Because
mean,
Lord knows I do that enough.
yeah. Well, it's a good thing. And a lot of us do it. And there was a guy that actually wrote 3 books about it, and you probably know I think he was an American guy as well, Neil Donald Walsh.
Who is it?
Conversations with God, Neil
Oh,
Donald Walsh. Very great books. I read them, but I discovered when I was reading them that I was already having these conversations with God. I didn't need a book to show me my conversation that's going on.
right.
And with not just God, but with others around me, because it's like the phone rings. You go, oh, I know who that is. And it is who it is, who you thought it was.
It's
So
God
there
call.
is
It's
your
caller ID.
conversation.
God is on the line.
No, 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 not looking at the phone. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying, Jeff. We know when we're connected. And sometimes others, when we are thinking of something or we have an emotion about something, they come out with exactly those words and that emotion.
So is God a feeling?
No, it's consciousness. We are consciousness. And yes, and it is a feeling. Absolutely. It is that as well. So yes, I agree. But it's not you might be right, actually. I think God is a feeling first. So it's conscious feeling energy. But we're attributing words to
Right. Yeah.
consciousness,
Like,
which is kind of a little bit. It's
I,
like saying, well, we know way more than consciousness. I mean, look at us. We are so clever. You know what I mean?
I've been watching a lot of like tributes to David Lynch and reviews of his work lately. By the way, we're watching Mulholland Drive in the Discord today. And it was all about like how to express beyond words. He used cinema and imagery to communicate all of the ineffable stuff that words just can't capture. So I'm thinking of that as well. Maybe God is Lynchian.
Yes, I would agree. And the conversation that you have does not have words. And I think it is more pictorial. So when you look at, and obviously we don't speak the older languages like Chinese and Japanese and the Eastern languages, because I mean they are pictorial. If you look at them, each
Oh yeah, the written, the
each,
characters.
but they're not letters. They are pictures. So they're describing an event. They're not just describing like strung together letters or words. It's literally pictorial. I mean, my father was part Sri Lankan. That is also a very beautiful language. When you write it, when you look at it, it is pictorial. All of these old languages are Sanskrit, all of them, and the Arabic languages, all pictorial. But ultimately, the conversation we are having with one another, and we are all connected, and we're connected to every
I don't want to be
tree,
connected.
every blade of grass, every flower, every
No,
aspect of mycelium. Yes?
I
This is
reject that.
not where you can, but when you observe animals, they are having a very quiet conversation
Yeah, but they're
until they
also
want to have a
killing and
fight.
ripping each other apart and eating each other.
No, they're
Like
not. I've got two
they
male
are. Oh,
rabbits.
they do.
They've only
They
had one fight. And they are talking to one another constantly.
with their
Right? I've had
teeth.
hamsters, I've had terrapins, I've had tropical fish, cats, dogs, mice, birds. I mean, they're all having a conversation that we are not listening to. But when we observe, then we can comprehend the conversation. And we also are having a quiet conversation with one another. We
That
don't
creeps
even know
me
it
out.
yet.
Jeff, did you hit
It's
that?
not creepy. Stop
Well,
it.
cause I
Jeff,
don't, cause I can't tune in. That's why. There's like it's
Jeff,
like a
did you hit that?
conversation going on around me that I can't participate in or eavesdrop
You
on.
can hear it though. You
I can't.
can.
I can barely hear
Yes, you can.
normal body language,
No,
like nonverbal stuff.
no. You'll find that conversation. It will come to you. Trust me.
Uh, I
Okay.
do like
I
I've been
know.
talking about mythology though, and how it's the language of imagery and metaphor.
So
It's so
There you
that
go.
that part of us that thinks in those terms is
Yes.
it is a nonverbal element that we're using that mythologically that
Constantly.
kind of
We
transcends
are.
individual
Did you know
languages.
what travels faster than the speed of light?
Gossip. drama.
Yeah. I love it. So we have a saying here. So this is Scotland, okay? You shit. Sorry, hang on. You pee yourself in pit and ween. By the time you get to Anstruther, you shat yourself. So that is gossip. All right.
Wow,
So
you
you're right on
Scots
that.
are.
I didn't make
Hey,
that one up.
Mike. Wait, tell it to me again. You piss yourself in one
So you
city,
you piss yourself in your village, and by the time you get to the next village, you've shat yourself.
so that's what moves faster than the speed of light. Hey, Mike, what's up?
No, no,
Hey, how are
no.
you?
It's a joke. Hey, Mike.
Do you have any
How are
thoughts
you?
on progressive men or God?
Okay. Well,
We need more
listen, and
men.
so
I
sure, no
agree.
problem. And it's really I'll break it down real quick, and non-trolling, Mike. It's hard to be a man now in this day and age because remember, it used to be simple to be a man. It used to be simple, right? I'm sure Joe will agree. It used to
Yeah.
be okay. I'm going to work. My wife's going to take care of the kids. I'm saying that old adage of a
Oh,
man's a
yeah.
man, a woman's a woman. But now the script has flipped where a
True
lot of women are
family. Aye.
a lot of women are more successful than men, and some men can handle it, some men can't. Now, I'm sorry to say this, I am not the cat's meow, but I've never had a woman that was more successful than me, other than one woman was more successful than me, but it never threatened me. I had a woman that I was dating, and she was a lawyer, and she was very successful, but it never bothered me that she made more money than me. It never bothered me, and she never put it in my face. So it was like it was totally cool. But
Oh,
I think
true love.
some women get emboldened to rub it in a man's face, maybe
Hmm.
to motivate him.
Mm,
But think about this: the
mm-hmm.
best way to motivate somebody is to bring them up, not chop them down.
Yep.
And
I agree.
and
I don't know if women are trying to lift men up. I think that's very threatening to them, especially if they just got power
And Mike, I think you just hit
from
something
men.
right on the head there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you could
Definitely.
look at what progressivism seemed to be in that original period over a century ago compared to what we call progressivism today, it's much more clear that old school progressivism was a brand of politics about lifting people up, lifting the everyman up, and that you had a populist uprising based on that. Versus today, a lot of what you think of progressivism is about, cutting people down, wagging your finger at them, trying to censor them, trying to
Mm,
cancel them. And I almost never hear about actually building somebody up and making them successful. Because if you were to build somebody up and they could be successful and they could live with autonomy and creativity, well, then they'd be something for you to tear down at that point, right? They'd become problematic
mm,
at that point, as is often described.
mhm.
And so,
And if your ego is like taking you down, though,
right, and just
but
think about Theodore Roosevelt kind of just sort of being the tough guy that he is, the Rough Rider who becomes president, and people thinking, yeah, I like that. Back then, it would be very hard to find that happening today, and that person being considered a progressive or having a voting base of progressives. Um,
Because the progressives currently seem to be interested in censorship, limiting free speech on the internet,
yep, basic.
like that kind of stuff.
and this is why for a while before they were called progressives, some people, I think progressives, like maybe in a more old school sense, refer to them as regressives, which I guess they
Yeah, the
ultimately
regressive left. I
They used
refer
to
to
be
them as
called
that.
the left. They
yeah.
actually used to be called the left.
I
Literally,
think
the
I think
left.
if you don't mind me saying this, I think the biggest
Sorry.
problem now is and I'm sorry to cut you guys off. And young
No,
lady,
no, no, it's
the
fine.
biggest problem now is dating because so many people are staying
Mm,
single because it's not worth the headache. Do you
I
remember?
agree.
Listen, everybody put their
I
thing caps
agree.
on. Now Joe is a young guy, but me, Jeff, and Manuel, Manuel.
I'm an old
Um,
git. Barnell.
are you
Yeah.
Gen
Manel.
X? Are you Gen X like me and Jeff? Are you a Gen X? In other words, you
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
you remember going to the movies in the '80s, in the late '70s,
Yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
you
Yep,
remember when
yep.
things were much more.
I was a
But date,
teenager. Yeah,
but
growing up.
remember how
Hmm.
dating remember how dating and reading people was exciting? It was fun. It was fresh. It's like
It was.
you just couldn't wait to get off work.
But
in
how
your
much of that was
menial world.
youth?
No, it was simplicity of people's consciousness. What I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, Jeff, and everybody, is that
It's
people
true,
make
though.
this
We could,
people make this
but we
thing
did
called
get
life
ourselves in trouble,
so.
though, as well.
But you have to
You're
admit,
right.
young lady,
Sorry.
we make life so overly complicated. We make it so complicated
We
and so
can do.
difficult.
I don't. I try not
It's
to.
true. I try not to, but
But
yeah, it
I
does
just
sometimes.
But Joe has experiences from like the modern dating world, which horrify me if that's the norm.
the
I don't bother dating
unhappiest
anymore. I can't be asked.
the
Sorry.
I don't
unhappiest
know if women
Continue.
want to date, if they even want.
I was actually supposed to have a date scheduled today from the one that.
The one from last week.
But
Yeah.
you're here now.
Wait, hang on. She stood you up last week, and you tried to
I'm
reschedule
kidding.
another date with her.
Pulling your leg.
So she asked if she could, so I gave her a much less generous offer. Basically, it was a place that was closer to her. It was gonna be like a fun center with like bowling and shooting pool and movies.
Oh, nice.
And I basically changed the
Aw.
plan to, if you want to do it again, it's gonna be here, very close to where I live, basically like a 5-minute drive. And I was not gonna show up until she texted me she arrived at the restaurant. It would just be dinner.
Right.
But at this point, I'm also thinking I'm gonna wait to see if some sort of problem emerges, and suddenly like she can't show up for some reason. Sure enough, it's like, oh, I don't have gas money because my check didn't come through for no reason, and I don't have any gas. I need you to send me some. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a bummer.
And here's the thing, right? This isn't like just like a thing that's like, oh, some person in Russia or India is doing a scam.
Just
This is
down
a
the
thing
road, she is.
that American girls do with dating apps. It's who just need some money.
Mm.
And it's part of what makes them actually convincing. Is like they'll date the ones they want to date, and then the other guys that they don't want to date are just leads that they can milk for sympathy money if they need some extra cash.
But they'll still chat to them and wind them up. So
Yeah.
I
Do you
don't
think
like any of
that's
these
most
dating
women?
things.
Is that
That's not
dating
nice.
norm?
That is
Well, I think
not
that's
nice.
I think that's what dating apps enable. I don't think it's necessarily most women.
The
but
winding
it's
up, you
certainly-
mean?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be.
Yeah, to wind people up a little bit. Men
Did
and
you get an
women, not just
explanation
men.
from her for why she stood you up the first time?
She
'Cause
said
she
that
has some explaining to do.
she took a nap and overslept, and at this point I kind of figured she was full of shit. But
That sounds
part
like
of me
Tosh.
just wanted to see
So
what
I
kind
could
of
see what a
message-
priority the date was.
Yeah,
Well,
and
if
if you're excited, and not to be negative, but if you're excited to meet somebody, you're not going to fall asleep. You're not going to take it.
Right? Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
I wouldn't.
So at this
Exactly
point,
right.
I was just thinking, let's set another date and let's see what kind of methods or techniques this person uses. Because
Don't
I'm really
waste your time,
curious
Joe. Please.
how does this work? So it was interesting.
Don't waste your gas. Don't waste your thumbs.
That's where I'm at,
on the
but
screen.
I'm wondering
That's
why.
why I
Just
said.
really don't-
That's why I said I'm not going to go there until I get a text that she's arrived at the restaurant. And obviously, I'm not going to get that text. So
I think because the first time she failed, don't bother. She's going to wind you up.
There's plenty
That's what
of
I
Joe.
see.
You're a catch. There's plenty of women out there that would
Fish
be
in the sea.
very
Well, I'm
happy to
telling you,
have somebody.
I'm
Swimming
telling
around.
you, she's not going to come.
You're a cute
because
man. Come on.
She conveniently does not have
I'm too old
gas
for you,
money
but
on the day of
that's
the date,
fine.
right? So obviously she's not coming.
No.
But I was kind of thinking of that.
She's
This is why
definitely
I set
not
it up.
coming.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
This
How
is
would
why
you
I
forgive
prepared
my
it like
rudeness?
that. I was going to see. Okay.
Yeah, companionship is difficult.
And that's just one thing. Right? That's something that happened this week. So yeah.
But
Wow.
you see, when you meet that woman, it is going to be in the most unlikely place, and it certainly isn't going to be on a dating app.
Yeah.
You're going to walk out of your house one day, you'll just go shopping, and you might go to grab a potato off the rack, and there'll be this other hand, a little dainty hand, and you'll both go for the potato together. And you'll go, oh, there she is. No, I'm just, look, come on. You will not
Everybody
meet the love of your life on a dating app. I promise you. You
No, I
will
agree with
only
you.
meet
I agree with you. I'm just waiting
weirdos
for eHarmony
on a
to run
dating
out
app.
its subscription at this point, because I got it. It's a
Right.
year subscription for eHarmony. I got it January 30th of last year, so it expires January 30th here. So I'm just kind of running that out,
Right.
and just like, I will
Right.
say that is better than
Good.
the other apps, because I actually did get a real date from it once, but that's not really saying much.
Right.
You know, so I certainly don't feel like renewing for one whole fucking date in a year.
You know what?
Okay,
Have
well,
you tried
I'm
the
going to
Goodwill?
confess.
But the Goodwill, I don't
No,
go to the
I'm
Goodwill.
no, hang on.
The start.
They're all the same.
You got to, no, you got to.
I'm
I think
If I'm listening to
gentlemen,
what Manella's saying, you got to
gentlemen,
meet
I am
people at
guilty.
places you actually go.
I am
I
guilty.
think if
I went
everyone
and
agrees,
lived with a man through a dating app, and he turned out to be one of the shittiest people I'd ever met.
Mine too, but I
Okay.
also met some pretty great guys through dating apps too.
I've
Yeah, but not lived with.
yeah.
Yeah, there are good people
I,
out there, but yeah. Right.
I've been on dating apps.
Anyway.
I've been on dating apps, and it always ended up to be one thing. It was basically just a wham bam. If you want to talk, you know,
A
Were they like,
pokey,
hey, you're
scratchy
that
thing,
guy
like,
from YouTube?
yeah. But if it was the loves of my life, you know, I've had two, I think, and one was I met her. We were in our early 20s, and she worked a kiosk in the mall, and I would always be like a mall watcher. And we met through, and she gave me her Jeff. She gave me her pager number. Her pager number.
From Beeper
that's
Not
Booty?
going
even
back a bit, isn't
the pager number.
it?
And
I
then
remember
the
the
other one was
pages.
the pager, and another one was the best way to meet people, to be validated, to meet somebody and build a relationship is for a good friend to recommend you to
Word of
another
mouth,
one.
yes. Same with jobs.
Correct.
Referral network,
Yes.
yes.
Listen, this is you may not
Absolutely.
hit it off.
Come meet
You may not hit it off, but
this
the
girl.
person,
Come meet this
yeah,
guy. You'll really
I'm going to
like them.
set you up.
And then you go socialise, you go, I don't know, have a bit of food, a couple of drinks
yeah.
together, but you're with
If you're not
other
a
people.
weirdo, you know,
And so
you're not going to end up in someone's trunk, you know. But
exactly.
and the Italians, we
Right.
call it to
You're going to see a
to
real
vouch for someone.
interaction.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
remember my first date of my ex-wife. We went and we played putt-putt, you know, the golf game.
I love
And
Hubba.
and I didn't know this. And gosh, she was so gorgeous. Oh my God. We were what? We were 20.
Oh
We
dear.
were 21. I was 21. She was 23.
Oh,
And
we were all
I
gorgeous
didn't
when we
know
were
that.
21, though. Come on.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We looked like, but I didn't realize that you're supposed to let her
Hot,
win.
hot.
I'm talking.
No,
I'm
you're not
talking
supposed to.
shit.
That's not a real victory. That's like Spike
No.
trying to claim he won
All right. Well,
Monopoly.
Jeff, I'm not a Jeff. I'm not a
But
fuck.
he really
I'm
liked
talking.
her.
I'm talking shit. I'm
You're
like,
going to have to
yeah.
lie to her the rest of your
She was
life if you let her get
hot.
away with that putt-putt scam
She was
game.
hot, wasn't she, Mike? Eh? You didn't
Oh
know
my
what to
God.
do with yourself. Bless.
Filipino and Puerto Rican.
So,
Oh.
Mike, I wanted to clarify, because you had
Oh.
said a
Ooh
lot
la
of the
la.
issue comes down to dating today. Do you think that some of these problems with just the dating culture that young men are facing today is feeding into some of these bizarre political trends where we're observing, for example, that progressive today is basically nothing like progressive of old?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great question, Joe.
Yes.
Let me give you
Yes.
an answer. I have someone in my family that is very close to me. I'm not going to name exactly what, but this woman is very successful, and then she works in the bartending industry. And every man she
WASF.
meets,
Yes.
she has to control. She has to control them,
Oh.
like she's wearing the pants. And these guys are complete cucks. They just go for, yes, babe, whatever, babe.
Oh
But
no.
well, check this out. Check this out.
Whips and
After
chains.
2 and 3 months,
Oh dear.
she's single again, looking for someone else.
Ah.
Because a man needs to be a man. He needs to be
They
a man.
don't. There's a lot of
It's-
men that want that. I don't know how they stay with these women, but they do. I see them all over
That's
Seattle.
weird, though. But so look, I'm a woman, and I've worked bloody hard through my life, but I would always come home and I would cook for my man. I don't have a man. I haven't had a man for many years because I can't at the moment. I've got lost parents, they died and all that stuff. So I'm dealing with that. But I am the kind of woman that I like my man to be a strong man that has some sort of control over himself and our home. And I stand by him. He mustn't abuse me, obviously. I cook for him. I will clean for him, wash his clothes. Trust me, I really am that kind of woman. But I haven't had the opportunity to find a man like that in these days because everyone's so afraid. It's all this crap. You know what I'm saying,
Somebody's
Joe?
missing out. That sounds like a good opportunity. Hey, Helena.
Seriously,
And
there's
yeah,
a
right.
lot of
And the
us
one
women here that really do like a man to be a man.
Yeah,
We don't
there's a
want
lot of
some
there's a
wuss
guy here that likes that
that
too.
fucking sits there and I go, shut up. We don't want that. Well, I don't.
yeah.
I don't want that kind of and I've had it, where the man is just this wimp. And it's like, why are you not a man? Where's your backbone gone? And it's because they've been beaten down. Yes, I know there
Yeah,
are
but
some.
that says something.
Look,
Like if a
some of
man
the
is that
best
easily
cooks
beaten
are men.
down,
Right. But
I think it
it's
depends on.
it's soul destroying when you see men being bludgeoned, and you've got these adverts. We have them here in Britain, right? One of them is some. I mean, they're trying to sell you shit, but one of them is, it might be Amazon or one of them, and it's this woman and this bloke, and he's a complete idiot. They're making them look more stupid. You guys, you're not stupid, but they're diminishing the masculine just as they are diminishing the feminine, because what
what
they are
is the ad
doing
saying?
is, so what it's basically saying is, she says, "Oh, we've got to, what is it? We've got to go and, I can't remember the exact words. Can't remember the
What's the
words, but
gist
it's
of it?
basically, well, it's advertising. It's like, we've got to go and, it's like Black Friday type thing, And he's like, "Oh, what do we have to go and do?" And he's like
Sounds
this
racist.
dim-witted, dumbed down. It's really horrible. It's a horrible advert. And they're doing a lot of this here in Britain, by the way. Shitloads. The transgender movement is absolutely kicking off in Britain,
I thought it was
especially in
dying
Scotland.
down. Like, oh yeah, in Scotland,
No,
don't you have
no,
a
no,
vote
no, no,
coming
no,
up
no,
or
no.
something?
Every village I go to, there are shitloads of gay women. I mean, with a cut hair, slightly overweight, and they're usually quite young as well, which is scary. You know what I'm
Actually,
saying?
that's the thing I've noticed as well. Is I think a lot more women are like young women tend to at least
Mm-hmm.
say that they're bisexual and just go with romantic relationships with women because maybe that's easier or safer. And that's probably another thing too that's limiting the dating pool. Is a lot more women are just feeling bisexual and going that route, and that reduces the pool of women for men even further.
It's just disgusting, though, Joe. Come on.
Well, I found out. I found out that I was dating somebody for a while. I did find out that she claimed that she was both ways, and
Ew.
I was like, and I didn't get mad. I didn't, raise my voice. I was like, well, is it okay if I ask you some questions? She goes, yeah, because I want to ask, I was like, well, is it more of a sexual thing? Is it like maybe a fantasy or like a kink? I'm just asking, She's like, no,
Yeah,
we were
quite.
in a relationship. We were girlfriend and girlfriend. We were thinking about getting married. I was like, well, to be honest with you, hon, you're gay. You're a gay person. You're not straight. You're gay. I mean, I'm saying if you would marry
Sorry,
the same
I can't help it.
gender, I'm just saying that you are gay and you should live your life and be happy. You're not going to be with
No.
some dude.
Don't come
You're
near
not going to be
me
with
though.
some
Just keep
dude.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was she?
I
Is
mean,
she
but
bisexual?
Hmm?
Is she bisexual?
She said she likes guys and girls. But when I
Yeah,
said to her,
that's bisexual.
but I was like, look, would you actually be in a relationship with a woman? Would you date her, like live together,
That's not
get married?
natural though. Come on.
She said
It's
yes. She
natural
said
for
yes.
her.
But I said to her, I said, well,
It's just
that means that
Stop.
you're gay.
it's
You're gay.
disgusting. She is
And
gay.
and remember, this is in my 20s. This is like 25 years ago. And that's
Right.
when it was taboo. That's when it was kind of taboo back then. People didn't really, it wasn't as open as it was now. So I think that she was secretly, for the other team, but she didn't know how to come
Doing it
out.
on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to everyone else. And, I'm not saying it wasn't fun, in parentheses, but, when you're in your 20s, you're having a
I
good
know.
time,
Right.
but
Okay.
I couldn't be with somebody. I can't be with somebody or be married to someone who wants another gender. That person should be with that person. That's all I'm trying to
But
say.
it's just
Well,
like
she wants
wanting
both, though.
another
That's the
man,
issue.
Mike.
She's
But
not going to be
can I
fully
just say
satisfied with
this?
either one.
So irrelevant of whether it is another gender, it's like wanting another man or another woman, respectively.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
And women
So
will do
it's
this.
like you're
Y'all could have a
hankering after
polycule.
something.
I cannot stand
know
when
what that
women
is.
are in a relationship, when women are married or they're in a relationship and that they're with a woman, but that's not cheating. Bullshit.
I
That's
guess it's
shit.
up to the couple. Like some have open relationships. That's
Yeah, but it's
becoming more
cheating.
common, actually.
It's
That's
still
not
cheating.
right, though.
It's still
It's
cheating.
cheating.
Well,
I agree.
I
If
mean,
you lay in bed,
you can have
if
whatever
you lay
opinion
in,
you want, but it only affects them.
We are like
but
birds. We are monogamous. Monogamous.
Not everybody.
Monogamous.
I am, but not everybody. I think
okay, Jeff,
polyamory,
I don't
after
know.
the
I
trans thing
think.
ebbs, I think polyamory is going to be the next trend that's going to get legitimized.
Well, I
The
think
Okay,
Mormons
there's
so
tried it way back
see,
when.
this is where it
the
becomes all really
hypergamy.
confusing.
Yeah,
Go on, Joe.
there's
Sorry.
hypergamy. There's hypergamy, right? Which is like I think, and this is sort of like a trend that's kind of merging with dating apps being the primary way dating happens now. Is that the most attractive and desirable men are juggling multiple women, and maybe it's not a hypergamy in a formal sense that like he lives with 4
It
women
doesn't
and he has
work.
children with all of them. But definitely a lot more dating and hooking up that way, and some women might increasingly tolerate those kinds of long-term relationships over time.
I see what you're saying.
And I do mean tolerate. Like I don't think they'll want it, but they will accept the man that they want, sort of having 3 other women on the side, versus picking a man that they don't want who is otherwise fine, but just not specifically what they want. I think that's something that dating app encourages culturally, or is making easier to occur
Yes.
than in the past. And
Absolutely.
so that's something that could also change.
do you think the classic
Can I say something about that? I'm sorry, go on.
Sure, and then I'll let Mike ask a
Go ahead.
question. Go ahead.
No, Mike, go first, please.
Do you think the
Do
old
you think
school
what?
notion of intimacy is gone? Like 2 people being intimate,
Yes.
sharing. I mean, is that intimacy gone?
No.
Are you talking about romantically, Mike? Because that was kind of the topic Jeff and I had last time.
Romantically,
That's not true, Raz.
just romantically, just living for that other person and that other person only, just being all about that one person and be
I
driven.
think it's still possible. Like people can
But do you
still
think
create that
So,
between themselves
but do you
if
think
it's
Mike
important
picked
enough
up
to
on
them.
exactly what I wanted to say. Mike, you totally picked up on what I was going to say. Please
Y'all
continue.
are connected.
it's like it's
Exactly.
eroding. It's slowly but surely going away. The old school.
I think it's created on an individual between 2 people, so I think that's still possible with the right 2 people. I don't know if it was ever
Right, I
like
agree. Yes.
on any kind of mass scale.
But Jeff,
May
good
I
luck
give
those 2
my
people find each
perspective?
other.
Yeah,
to
go ahead,
find that
Madame.
other person is going to be nearly impossible now to
Yeah,
find
it
that
is.
person.
That's a very special,
Okay,
valuable thing when it
that is
happens.
true. That is true. And that is why the one that you meet in the pub late at night is not the one. But the one that you meet in the supermarket may very well be the one.
Touching the potato.
But that wasn't my point. You know what I'm saying, though. My
Remember,
point
remember
is,
our, yeah,
go on, please.
good.
Go say.
No, go
Remember
go ahead, Madame.
our late
No, go
teens,
on. No, no,
early
no. I want to
20s.
hear what
We,
Mike's got
we
to say.
were,
This is an exchange. Please.
no, it's okay. It's like I remember in our late teens, early 20s being in love every month. Like I mean,
Yeah,
it's like there
yeah.
was, yeah,
I
it was,
know, but love was
oh my
completely
god,
different when you're young like that. Because
yeah,
love can
definitely.
last a week, and you're completely infatuated with this
'Cause it's
one person. I
hormone,
mean, it's like, oh my god,
hormone
the
love.
sun shines out of their backside. I mean, they can't do any wrong, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. Do you know what I mean? That is childhood
I
love.
can't I can't live without
There's
her.
nothing wrong with that. It's so
I
true,
still
though,
feel
isn't
that
it?
as an adult. I just know how to like revise it
I
to
know,
match
Jeff.
I mean, I think
realistic
that's
And this is
I
expectations
think
very
now.
that's fun for people, right?
so.
Like
This
people.
is this is yes. Go on, please,
I was just saying, I think that's
Mike.
fun for people. Like, people want to be that crazy about
I
someone, and
got
they want
tears in
people
Yeah,
my
to be
eyes
it
that
too.
feels
crazy
good.
about them.
There's chemicals in your brain it produces. They said it's similar to cocaine.
Like
Right. And
if two
okay.
such people find each
Perfect.
other, I think most
Please,
people would
Matt.
agree that
Please, can
that's
I just? No,
happy.
no, no. I was trying to say something, and Jeff just said it. The
Cocaine. Go ahead.
chemicals. No, not cocaine.
Cocaine.
No. When you get together with someone, you are exchanging your chemicals. You're not exchanging just your chemicals, but you are exchanging aspects of your spirit and your soul, your whole being. When you feel that love, you can come into me. I'm an open, because that's when you're a woman, that's what you are. You're an open doorway. So you are welcoming that man into you. I am speaking
Mm.
purely from a feminine aspect. So you welcome that man in. But the man also is saying, yes, I am now becoming part of you. I am going into you, into your being, into your spirit. That is a very, very sacred thing. So when we are doing that with multiples, that becomes not sacred anymore. It's disgusting. You are
Yeah.
losing that connection of spirit and that beautiful chemistry that you could have. Like Mike said, you will, it doesn't matter how old or young you are. The old in and out.
Joe,
No.
what were you gonna say?
That
Oh,
was funny
I
though.
wasn't going to say anything about that.
Well, before that, you were saying
Right.
something.
Okay. You
Uh,
get where I'm going anyway.
I
Yeah,
think.
I'm not one of those multiple people, so I only know the
One.
one-on-one part
Yes.
of it.
Same. I
Sure.
am the same. So I'd rather have none than multiples.
Yeah. It's I think a lot of it is like a lot of guys. Remember back in the day we talked about game. Like growing up in New York, you have game. Another game means you could speak to a woman,
Oh
be
yeah, uh-huh.
flirtatious, but not be disrespectful. That's game. Getting her to want you, but not being out of line. I think a lot of guys now don't have game no more.
Aha.
They're creepy. They're super creepy. I mean, I'm
Yes.
I'm, I'm saying not everyone, some guys. And
Yes.
it's funny when I
Definitely.
sit back and it's like I talk to my son. My son doesn't even try. My son's a really big, muscular, handsome kid, right? So he gets girls. But like the normal
No
guy, just
problem.
the average person has a hard time getting through to that female. Hey, listen, I'm
Mhm.
interested in you. And I'm witty, I'm funny. I'm working on a career. Let's hook up. But and the girls want a successful guy at 22. That doesn't happen. Okay. At 22,
Mm.
my head
So
was up my ass. I don't know what I was
it's
talking
funny
about.
that you say that, Mike. Mike, it's really funny that you say that. Okay, because a lot of guys, as they finish college and get into the workplace, not just guys, right? So young women have to deal with
That's
it
true,
too.
Teller.
Um, when they are putting in job applications, right, they have to apply for like 100 places, and then what most of the job descriptions are is like, we want somebody with a college degree with like 5 years experience in this role for an entry level position. And
That's
that's kind
ridiculous.
of been the meme of job searching for like the last decade or
Totally
so.
ridiculous.
And
Yeah.
but that's very similar to basically how you described what the dating prospects are for young men. What's even funnier about this, Mike, is a conversation I had in real life today was basically the same thing. I was over at the local coffee shop. I was talking with the baristas there, and it was like we actually talked for like 10 minutes. And it was three of them were like chicks like in my age range. I don't know all their exact ages, but they're all like well, two of them are with someone, and then so they were asking
Cute.
like, what's the dating scene like now? Like, what's that like? And I basically described it the same way to them. Like a dating, like I point out, well, dating apps have like become the mainstream way people meet. Like
No,
2022
that's
was
bad.
when a majority of new relationships were recorded to have occurred on apps rather than the old ways, like at church or in person, like at a coffee shop.
So sad, isn't
And
it?
so the dating app dynamic, I said it is much more like putting in a job application where in this job description, they basically want you to have it all at the very beginning of your career, even though that doesn't make sense.
Of course,
And
because you haven't got
that's
the
sort of,
experience, of course.
Do women have the power advantage there? Like, do they have the ability to pick and
No, they
choose and
no, and
on
gatekeep?
dating apps,
not at
they can
all.
just continue to say no,
You
no,
know
No,
what?
no,
they
no.
don't.
Let me tell you
No, they
something. I'm
don't.
gonna tell you
Not
something.
honestly.
I'm gonna be real with you, and this is
Sorry,
gonna probably
I'm a
piss someone
woman.
off.
No. I
This is
just
gonna
wanted
piss,
to say that. No,
you know.
sorry, guys. Just one moment, because
Uh,
we are talking about the only two genders that are ever going to exist. Okay? So, excuse my uh, gentle bad language. F those that say that there are, I don't know, countless genders. There's man and woman. Okay? And that applies to, unless you're a snail, and then you can change your sex because you can't propagate. Ooh, there's another snail. Ooh, I'll change my sex. We're not snails. Women
yeah.
also have problems with all this exact thing that you are talking about.
Mhm.
Okay, and it applies through the ages from when you're a small girl, because infatuation can happen when you're quite young, right? In single numbers. And then in your teens, your later teens, and then into your early 20s, and blah, blah, blah. You know the story, because it applies to everyone. But Mike's giggling. I love that.
Oh, so you on it?
The
Sorry.
same. No, but it is the same. Sex wars, yeah, exactly. And but it is not us doing the sex wars. It is the system. I like to call it the
No.
dwarf
It's not.
system.
It's people. It's humans
No,
taking action, making
no,
choices,
it's
and
not.
taking actions. The system is this
I
inanimate,
don't think so.
inert
Well, no,
tool.
because
It's
they've
humans need
forgotten.
to take responsibility and accountability for their choices
I
and their
agree with
actions.
that.
They're
Yes, they
not being
do.
puppeted
Absolutely.
against their will passively to do these things they're doing. They have
Yeah,
a
I agree with
role
Jeff
in
here.
how this is happening. I'm not going to let them get away with not taking
Yeah,
that
I
accountability.
agree with Jeff
No.
here.
Oh,
With
no,
everything
no.
I've
I
said,
do agree with that.
I look at it all as my priority is not to be an evil person to others. Before anything else, before I get pussy
Quite.
or a wife or anything,
Do
that is
no
my
harm.
priority.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike, you were about to get real with us.
I mean,
He's
the
always
biggest
been
problem is
real.
that one of the biggest problems I have is that I don't think I look my age. I'm a lot older than a lot of people that I talk to, like, out and about in the real world. And it seems like a
Mm.
lot of younger girls, like in their mid-20s, they want what's called a
Be
daddy.
careful.
They
Mhm.
want a daddy.
Be
They
careful.
want an
Oh,
older guy
I want
who's
one of those too.
established.
Be
I
very
know, but the
careful with
thing
them.
is that I was talking to a
And they're
girl.
very
This is a couple of years ago.
tantalizing.
I was talking to a girl in her early 20s. I think what I was like maybe 45 at the time, 44, and she's like
Mm.
20 years younger than me. What do I tell my
Ooh.
daughter who's 23?
Ooh.
I
Yeah, be
mean,
careful.
that's gross, right? That's gross.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't
Right.
date her. as attractive as it seems, I can't because I have no way to
Right.
justify that weirdness.
No, because
So
it's like your
I
daughter's
did
age.
not. But then
She could
women
be your
my
daughter.
age, women in their 50s look like Jabba the Hutt most of the time.
No,
I mean, no,
stop
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm just.
Body positive.
I agree with
Men
Uncle Fatty
my
there.
age also look
Yeah, I
like
do
Jabba
too.
the Hutt.
There are
Mike,
women that
it's
take
the same.
Listen, my ex is 2 years older than me. Okay, she's 2 years
Okay.
older than me, so she's in her 50s, and she looks amazing, amazing.
Oh,
Some women
good
look
girl.
better with age. Some women don't.
Aye,
But what I'm trying to say is
I agree.
the dating pool. Okay, me being 50, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna date someone fit in the 50s. I'm like, eesh, no. But you can't. But you can't date someone younger because then you're a weirdo.
Wait,
You know. So like,
no,
what
you
do you do?
can.
Well, I think you are
No,
you dating
you
for you
can.
or are you dating for other
Just
people?
don't
I
do
think you
20
date
years
what you
younger.
want. Here's
Yeah.
the guy that's going to
I
clear
would
all
say
this
date
up.
whoever you
Hey,
want.
flow
Yeah.
states.
If anybody
Right.
can,
So to
There
answer
goes
to
Flo.
answer your question, real quick, before Flo jumps in. To answer your question, you have to. If you meet somebody that you're serious with and you want to introduce them to your family, to your kids, it's very hard to justify a girl that you're dating that's 2 years older than your daughter. That's what
well,
I'm trying to say.
Nee.
yeah, but again, like date
Yes.
who you want for your own
You
goals,
don't have to
not to make other
justify
people happy.
anything.
And I forgot
Yeah.
that I'm not supposed to have
Mikey
the two
makes
of you on the
sense.
panel together, so I don't want any trouble. Flo, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
It's
you.
difficult.
oops.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm just here because I heard y'all were talking about sex. I like sex.
Yeah, sex and romance advice and the modern dating
I'm
scene.
sorry, Flo. That's really good. I like
And
sex.
progressive
I've known
men,
for
if you have
freaking
anything to say
years.
about that.
Yeah,
I only
Progressive
trust
men.
my
the
fingers
topic
these
started
days.
on
You don't
progressivism.
trust your fingers these days?
I'm not sure I
I
understand that.
only trust my
you only
fingers
trust my
these
fingers.
days.
You wouldn't trust my fingers?
Maybe.
Oh,
We're too far away unless you're Stretch Armstrong.
Ain't no mountain
that's not what I
high
heard.
enough.
All right. Sorry.
So-
Are you Stretch Armstrong? If you are,
I need to be.
then maybe you can.
Anyways, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Pretty good. What's up? What's on your mind? What does your hat say?
Super good.
It says Shadow Glen. It's a golf course.
Oh, okay. You golf?
I golf like I fish. I
Okay.
have the stuff and I know how to do it, but I don't really ever do
You
it.
putt?
I don't putt. If
Oh,
I golf,
you're
I'm going to
missing
do
out.
full on adult golf. It's kind of a slow game though. Like 9 holes is good. 18 holes, forget it.
Watch.
Oh yeah, Jeremy, me too. I had the monster, and my sister bit it to see what was inside of it, and that pink gel came out and it ruined it. That's the only time she's ever gotten in trouble for
Ew.
anything in her
Holy
entire
fuck,
life
that
is when
was-
she bit my stretch.
That was a
monster.
clippable quote right there.
The pink gel
Well,
was
somebody
it the
clip it. For...
was it McDonald's? Was it McDonald's chicken McNugget sauce?
No, it's like this
Sounds like
pink
it, doesn't it?
gel. It's clear pink gel.
Ew.
So that's what makes
Remember
it stretch.
the grossest? I think the
sounds
grossest thing
disgusting.
growing up to play with was remember the goo. They like it was like an egg. It was like the goo, like that.
The slime, or is it the gas?
Yeah, the slime. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love the slime. We
Stop
had
it.
all the slimes.
Yuck.
It was cool
Oh,
until
yeah, I
like
remember slime. We had it
3
in the
hours later, it'd
70s
get
and
like
the
the carpet
80s.
fuzz in it and shit, and it was gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always kept it at
It
the
would go
table so we could
everywhere, wouldn't
reuse
it, Flo?
Yeah.
It would freaking
They had the
stick in
slime that
everything.
glue in the dark. They
Yeah.
had the slime with the worms in it. They had the slime with the eyeballs.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
stretchy
yeah,
hands
I
were
remember
a
it
good
all.
middle ground because they had slime-like qualities, but they stayed in one piece and you could hit people with them.
You talking about the little ones that you
Yeah, the
fling?
stretchy
They
hands.
yeah, like the
Yes.
frog tongue. Yeah.
Yeah. Gross.
So.
Freaking disgusting. But funny, especially when you threw it at someone's face.
Ooh, I
Oh
never
yeah,
did
those
that.
were
Trust me, we
the
did that.
stretchy hands were fight starters for sure.
No, I'm talking about the slime. Sorry,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I'm a tank girl. We threw things at each other. We
Yeah, well, you're
jumped in
Scottish, so
rivers
y'all
and
are a violent, bloodthirsty
no, I'm
people.
not Scottish. Am I frig? I'm not
Oh.
Scottish. I just live in Scotland. That's all.
My
Oh,
last name
okay.
is
I don't
Scottish.
Come
know
on,
my
I don't
Jess.
know
accents. Well, Flo, do you have
on.
any dating advice for young Joe here?
I mean, I
modern-
don't.
Ooh,
I'm
gonna
coming
love
to the
this.
conversation cold, so I don't really know. I have no idea what Joe's dating situation is.
It's just the modern dating scene in general.
Internet
Dating
dating,
apps.
Flo.
So
Internet
Women
dating.
wanting
Hey, fat
my
bastard. Nice to
advice would
see you,
be
man.
to not try to research and figure out the cheat code, to just do the damn thing and recognize that no matter what you're doing, you don't get good at it until you go through being bad at it, and then
Is that how you got Mrs. Flo?
I got Mrs. Flo because
That was some weird advice.
Alternatively, if you know somebody who's got like a 2-year-old girl, a cute little girl that you can borrow, take her to the park and run the mom circuit.
Yeah, I forgot about that. The
Oh,
baby. I
stop
used to
it.
use that to get Mardi
I'm
Gras
gonna
beads.
slap you, Flo. You know you
Well, I
always
mean,
like to
great.
vex folks.
I brought my own daughter to the park, so I was actually
Oh, dear.
legitimately adorable that way. But
Or
but no,
a dog sometimes work, but if you can find a baby.
yeah, not
Hey,
a
fatty,
baby, 'cause
what's
babies are like
Good. Puppies are good.
people larvae.
puppies?
Stop it, guys.
Just don't. If you spit your pink slime at me after you bite my stretch, it's not. Yeah, it's not gonna work out.
No.
Well, what's up? Do you have some wisdom for us? Some grandpa wisdom?
Yeah,
I was
fat
going to.
bastards
It took me like
always
an
got.
extra 5 minutes to get here because I had to clip all the spitting of the pink goo after you bite my stretch.
Oh, you got it. Good man.
Oh, you got okay. Good. Send it to me. I can
Dude,
use that
was
for
wild.
promo.
The string of words that you put together without any like break in the middle there.
Stop
My
bagging
sister bit my. I had a big one and my sister bit
It's a
it.
very
So the goo
vivid
came out.
memory. It
It
came
was like, holy
alive
fuck.
all on its own.
Oh.
bro. That's yeah. Stretch Armstrong. That was a good one.
What
Yeah,
laws
well,
take the
because,
freedom
come
of
on.
men?
I mean, Scotland, he's in America somewhere.
What the fuck does that mean?
Vetting
Don't.
question.
I
What
would
laws
not.
think,
take the freedom of
The
men?
Red Pill documentary talks
Cutting
about
off
all
your
this. How the
dick.
legal system is stacked against men here
Oh
in the
no,
U.S.
it's not. Don't.
It
Letting
is,
them
and
cut your
certainly,
dick off.
certainly, we are the most
Sir.
we are the truly oppressed group, but
No, we're
systematic
not.
oppression
I've been
against men.
divorced and through
I
custody
actually
battle
think you
twice.
are.
We're not. This
No.
is what
That's
men
not
tell
good.
themselves to console
No.
themselves for losing. Here's the reality: men have. If you don't have your kids after a divorce as a man, there's three reasons. One, you didn't want them. Two, the courts didn't think you should have them.
That's
Three,
bad.
the courts are mean. That is the only option.
The
of an
courts are
explanation for that.
biased.
No, no,
That's
no,
the-
Hey,
no,
Jeff,
no.
They
I'll be back.
default
Okay.
to the woman.
Flo.
Jeff, I'll be back, man. I'll be back.
Whoa. Wait.
Okay,
My mother
Second.
took me away from my father. He
How
had
old are you?
not a hope
Ish.
in hell.
Right.
the
Things have
U.S.
changed.
courts, I
This
guess.
was a
And
long.
you,
I'm an
right.
old git. That's
right.
irrelevant.
So, yeah.
Nothing has
no, it is
changed.
relevant.
Nothing has
Things have
changed in the
changed.
system.
Yes, they have. In the U.S., absolutely. They have.
No. They
Have-
still
when's the
supported
last
my
time you were in
mother above
family
my
court?
father.
Oh my fucking god! But that's not relevant. That's what I'm telling you.
The
My
U.S. court
father was
system.
accused of being a pedophile by my half sister. It
Uh-huh.
destroyed his life.
Well, that's
I
a pretty
watched
rough
my
one.
father disintegrate. Right?
Yeah,
And I
that's a pretty
know
rough
that
claim.
she's a lying piece of shit.
Okay, but that's not
She
a normal.
also then
that
went
doesn't mean that
on
the courts
to
are
no,
stacked.
whoa. No, it's not normal.
Oh my god!
She went to accuse. Wait. She accused my grandfather of the same thing.
Why
Germany.
are we taking a general topic
Why is that?
conversation and moving it into your personal
I know
experience?
it's not even a
actually
U.S.
relate?
court. That was over
No,
in
Right,
the
it's-
UK.
it's
that
not even
wasn't where I
relevant.
was going. No, it was the fact that it is the destruction of the male, right?
Okay,
And
that's
I've
fine. In
observed
Scotland or wherever,
over
then I'm
decades.
sure they're terrible. But
No,
like
it's
that's
not to
where
do
we're
with
at.
me. I'm not a male.
Well,
It was my
I want to hear
and my
Flo's take on
grandfather.
the U.S. courts. Go ahead,
Go
Flo.
on, Flo.
Okay, so I've been divorced once and fought 2 custody battles, and I've won all of it. The laws are literally written exactly equal for family court. You can't find one law in one state that explicitly favors the woman that would be a violation of Constitution.
Right.
I just glitched out.
Women
As
file
far as
for divorce.
women,
Therefore, they usually
that's
get,
okay. That's what matters a lot. I filed for divorce first. That was a huge deal.
Right.
The first one to file has a hell of a good shot at winning. And I don't know what. Probably the reason men don't file for the first more often is because if a woman is in a bad relationship, it is potentially more dangerous to her than if a man is in a bad relationship. I would assume that might be a
Well, it
reason.
depends
but
on the woman.
No, my mum filed for divorce.
Nobody.
And she
Okay,
was wrong.
respectfully, nobody cares about your family. It's not relevant to this conversation.
well, and I think, when it comes to that, the women file usually because men are programmed, so to say, that when we lose the girl, we fight for the girl. We fight endlessly with endless lives and endless cheat codes.
What are you talking about?
Well, hopefully she's worth fighting for. You're not
She's
wasting
not-
your
Get that girl
time
back, right?
fighting for one
what?
that isn't. Flo,
The
what
women-
you should do like a series or a workshop or something on this for men, because I don't think a lot of men know that if they work the system right, that they can come out with their kids or with a successful divorce.
Right.
Actually,
But
you're
when
right.
girls
That's a really
when
good
girls
idea.
say it's over,
I'm gonna write
right?
that down.
We tend to want to fight to make it not over anymore, right?
I don't
but when
know.
it's over, it's fucking over, right?
When
And
my
Yeah,
when
but
my
women
wife,
do that too. I think that's the individual thing.
When my
Like,
wife threatened me with divorce, when she said the word, I didn't respond to it verbally. I just went and filed.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, there's a.
oh, so she played the divorce card, and you
She
just
played the
said,
divorce
okay.
card and just as a fighting,
Right.
Yeah, as a
approach.
tactic.
But fuck it, like it's
and
like
when you own it, like in your case, Flo, when you own it and you go and you take the fucking responsibility, you accept the fact that it's over, right? That most guys don't. Most guys simp out and get all fucking weird in the head and start fucking fighting for something that's not worth fighting for.
Well, maybe the problem is with the
Okay.
guys then, and the women are just exploiting.
what we
an
see,
existing-
and this is borne by statistics, Raz, not my personal experience, Raz, because I actually went to court, Raz, is that men typically don't fight for their kids. Raz, when they do,
True.
they have a
My
great
dad
chance of
didn't
winning.
fight.
See, that's it. And I think a lot of the reason that men don't fight is because they hear motherfuckers like Raz saying that they won't win anyways.
So they need to know they have a chance, and they need to know how to fight intelligent, like strategically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there is this impression out there that the system is stacked against men, the family court system.
So when I was saying it wasn't about me, it was about you guys. Because if you're going to have children and there's going to be shit come along, you're going to need to know how to fight. That was my point. It wasn't about
That is
me.
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. But
My ex thought that I would lay down and just fucking let her take the kids and take the house and take all the fucking assets, and I would just fucking fade into non-existence and pay child support and never be a part of their lives. That's what she expected, right?
Yeah, my mum did that.
Is
as
that
well.
what happened with
she
you?
was pretty much like that.
Not fucking even close.
But you know what? That like this misconception about men having shit stacked against them, it also works against women sometimes. Like my ex-wife,
It does.
she thought that I had fucked myself over when I filed for divorce. She was wrong, and her hubris cost her. At least the first time it did.
I agree.
This is good to hear, but this is honestly the first time I'm hearing this from a man.
And
So I'm glad to know this.
There's on Raging Tomato. This was a while ago. I was on a panel with Jasmine Jafar, and Iridium Kush and somebody else, but she was actually somebody good. We had this conversation, and she was good because I've been through custody stuff, but I'm not a lawyer, and she's a lawyer. And so we were able to sort of complement each other, but have the same sort of message. I should get in touch with her again and do that.
That was a good panel. It was.
Yeah.
So,
I think there's a place for you in
Being a
this.
child in between a custody battle, I completely comprehend flow state.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than pitting the kids against each other and using the kids as leverage and shit. I mean, it's the worst thing that can happen in divorces.
Yeah,
Ours kind of happened behind the scenes, and we just all assumed we'd end up with my mom, and which is exactly what happened. My dad
Sure.
didn't seem very interested in taking that responsibility to begin
Well,
with.
you know,
So
men are out
we
being the
we were kind
breadwinner,
of insulated
right?
Yeah,
from
I
a
was
lot of it.
asked, do you want to be with your dad or your mum? And I made the wrong choice, actually. Should have
That's
been with my
With
dad.
your mom.
that's sort of a wild, like, I don't know. I wish you didn't.
But,
Courts didn't have to ask kids that question, but like
I'm
then
glad
again, like,
they
Yeah,
asked.
exactly.
but yeah, the
I was
alternative
too
isn't
young
better,
to know what to say. You
right?
don't know when you're that little.
Well, that's
How are
why
you
I
going to
filed
freaking
when
know?
I
How
filed
old
when my
were you?
daughter was 2 intentionally, so that
I mean, I feel like I would have known at a very early age.
I was a young teenager.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
that's
know. Your
that's a
Right.
your
rough time
hormones
well.
period.
are
Yeah,
You
going
know
fucking
enough to
ape
make a
shit.
guess.
No.
my kids were 3, 6, and
When you're a
9,
young
and they were pitted
when
against
you're a
me for
young
sure.
teenager, just above 12, your hormones are going nuts. Trust me, boys and girls.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Everything's it's doing all that stuff, you know, because you're not interested in what your mum and dad are doing.
No,
I
but
like
I
that
still
boy
know
over
which
there.
one I like better, or
I
which one I
used
want
to
to
play
live with, or
football,
whose
right?
rules
Trust me,
are
and I
going to
played
be.
hockey. I played field hockey. I was not interested in what my parents were doing because all they did was fight.
Yep.
I wanted to fucking kick a football. I wanted to freaking skim that thing across into the goal with my hockey stick. Didn't care. And I
Did you
wanted
have
to go and
siblings?
sit out in nature, right? Because that's the kind of girl I am. Them lot were fucking arguing the toss about nothing. They got the courts involved. There was all this shit about contraceptives. I came across all the paperwork after they died, and I'd forgotten. And I went, oh my freaking good God. Right?
Yeah.
When two people make children, they need to be very, very careful that they actually bring those children up properly.
What?
I rest
Yeah,
my
that's
case.
nice if they do, but that doesn't always happen.
Shit, I had my first kid at fucking 17 years old, man.
what was it like giving birth that
I did
young?
3 kids before I was 21 years old. 3 kids
But
before 21.
when
Did
the
you
two of
step
them
up?
stick together and should not be together and fight, this is the point. There are lots and lots of couples that will stick together. They cannot function together. When sometimes it's better to be apart, make sure the
Absolutely.
children have the connection with the parents, right? And stop fucking fighting.
Yeah.
What the fuck is
Yeah,
wrong with
I
people?
agree. I agree with that.
Right? And this isn't just me,
Pride
because
and
I've met
ego.
shitloads in my life. Same story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, fuck. Nobody wants to admit that they, are a piece of shit, and that their significant other left them and took the kids. Nobody wants to admit that. But the hardest thing to do in that point in time is to just fucking step up and own the fucking situation. I flew off the fucking handle.
courts are mean to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
They never did. They never owned the situation. I agree.
right.
I guess it depends on like my attachment to the kids and how invested I feel like I would fight, but I
Yeah.
know a lot of people don't. Especially a lot of fathers.
It's tough because, like
Yeah,
I said,
but my
guys are
point
breadwinner,
is,
right? Guys are expected to be out there and be the breadwinner and make more than the woman usually because
Yeah, but
s-
adults
no,
can overcome expectations are one thing,
sure,
but it doesn't
no, they
control your
can't.
actions. You can
it doesn't.
They
overcome
didn't overcome it.
an
It doesn't.
expectation for the sake of your kids.
They
But
don't.
the judge's expectation when it comes to the divorce is that
Mm.
somebody's going to be 51 and somebody's going to be 49. Somebody is going to be the
Aye.
custodial parent. Somebody's going to have
Mm.
what's
Right.
called
And don't they
custody.
usually look at like with the circumstances of each parent and
Yep.
what's going to be best for that kid and get
Yeah, not
input from the kid
necessarily.
sometimes?
When the woman
No.
files for divorce, right,
Mm-mm.
it's because the guy is out there working most of the time. There's some sort of separation. There's some
Aye.
sort of
He hasn't got the
disconnect.
time
There's
to deal with it.
irreconcilable differences, right? Irreconcilable differences
No.
is the the easiest term when it comes to no fault or fault divorce. It doesn't matter, right? As far as fault or no fault, but somebody's going to pay child support because there's going to be an expectation, right?
So
That
sad,
the
isn't it?
norm for the kids is maintained. That somebody keeps the house, or you split the house and you sell the assets, whatever it is. Welfare is going to get involved. More than likely, 90% of the fucking time with divorce in America, welfare is going to end up subsidizing some part of that divorce for the kids, whether it's
Well, give them to the parent that welfare
It's
doesn't
not
have
just
to get
America,
involved.
by the way. Here's the
Right.
same.
So for the first 3 years, right, I was paying $870 fucking dollars a month
Shit.
because I was making fucking
Well, yeah.
bank, right? I was making killer fucking money. But I
Oh,
can't
that's
maintain
okay.
that standard, right? Because I can't work out of town on prevailing wage jobs, right? So now I want to work in town. I can't make as much as I used to be making. I'm taking jobs for less per hour, less per contract, so I can be part of the kids' family and try to maintain 50-50
Yeah.
balance there and have every other week where I had the kids, right? She gets all
Well,
strung out.
Flo
I
did
end up-
say that the person
shit, man.
that files first usually has an
Yeah.
advantage.
And that's typically the woman.
Yep.
You know, it typically is.
And it was my mum. She filed first. So,
In which
yeah,
case,
she
now
got
the
them.
now the
But they-
dad feels like he's been screwed over, right? And now he's bitter.
Yep.
And he's talking shit about the mom in
Yep.
front of the kids, and the kids are talking, hearing all this,
He
this
never
side
got a
talk and
chance.
shit. Well,
You're right, though.
chance
he
or not,
never
you
got a
got to take the
chance.
chance, and that's you got to step.
Yeah.
I tried to own it as much as I could, but I'm not going to say that I still didn't fucking flip out and become a little bitch. Straight up.
You still
Did
do
you
that
feel
sometimes.
I
screwed
love
over,
my
or that
papa.
it was
My
unfair to
dad was a
No, like a
fucking
fucking
dude,
stalker.
man.
Like a flat out fucking
He
stalker.
was a dude. I love my dad.
you?
He
Felt
was
like
such
a
a dude.
stalker, just trying to maintain
I became a
No.
stalker. For sure.
contact.
No,
Because
you didn't.
it's the unknowing, right? It's the things that we don't know that drive us fucking insane, right?
Yeah,
And when
the
we're not getting the
imagination
answers,
takes over.
and we're not getting the
What are
clarity
magnets?
of
That's
what's
what drives
going
me
on.
insane.
That's very, very
Magnets.
I would
creepy.
get calls from the
Creepy,
daycare at 6 p.m. and they close at 5 p.m. and be like, "Hey, she's not here to get the kids yet," and I'd go get the kids, and then by
What?
fucking 7:30 at night, she'd be calling the cops for me.
I get where you're
kidnapping
going.
That sounds
here.
messed
Oh
up.
my
Like, couldn't you
God.
use that as a reason to
Multiple
get the
times.
kids?
Multiple times, the cops would show up at my house
Ouch.
after I'd picked them up because she was negligent while she was the on-duty parent, right? For kidnapping my own fucking kid.
See, that sounds broke, Flo. That sounds like a broken system.
And that's vindictiveness.
working
That's the
against-
fucking
What was
bullshit
it?
that happened.
I wasn't paying attention.
Multiple
The
times.
wife
right,
was
Jeff.
not
It is a
picking up the
broken
kids at
system.
daycare, and so Fatty would go get them,
Oh.
and then the cops would come and harass him for kidnapping the kids
Well,
because
Fatty-
she wasn't fulfilling her role.
Yeah,
That's
Fatty.
terrible.
Well, I don't know why
That's not
Fatty
the norm.
didn't figure it out
That's
and play
not
the
the
game
norm.
back.
My mum did the same.
Because he didn't have
She
you.
left me on my own when I was little. And
No,
then
I
the
had no
system took me
resources. I
away
didn't know
from
what
her.
the fuck was going on.
Same
I
shit.
didn't know.
Same
Like
shit.
you were put into foster.
Different decade. Wow. Wow.
Manel, you went into the foster system.
Yes.
Oh,
In Germany.
well, sometimes that is the better option.
Oh no, she was the family were not good. They were not good. Really bad.
Yeah, the
Well,
foster system is
They were
really-
using it as a money making thing.
Yep.
They had 13 children in their house
Oh my God.
and they were
that's-
getting money from the system for every single child.
Well, ideally, there's
Okay.
supposed to be some regulation to it, some oversight.
Some of that happened, I think,
there's
maybe
not been
through
any
the
regulations
mid-80s.
through the decades, darling. Trust me, I know. And I was also, once I was brought back to Britain, because my mother lost me in the German child system, my father in 1979, in the winter of 1979, at Christmas, I hadn't seen him for 5 years, my dad. I loved my dad.
Fucking A.
We were both
Horrible.
deprived of that connectedness that we should have had, right?
And that's the way that the courts approach all these
Wait,
things
one
now.
moment.
Oh my
He
God!
took
We'll
me.
land it.
He walked me through the snow to Bremen Station on the coast of Germany. And we took the train. I
Why are
thought
you
I was
torturing
going for a
us?
walk. Because you need to know this stuff, because then you will take care of your children and one another. We walked through.
I'm
It was
pretty sure
beautiful,
I
by the
figured
way.
that out already. Go ahead.
Right. But once we got to the airport, our surname is Delay. The flights were delayed because of the snow. And I'm sitting there, little 12-year-old girl going, delayed, delayed. I said, do they know we're here? That's how stupid I was as a 12-year-old. Because our surname, our family name is Delay. You know, being late. It's a French name. Once I came back to Britain, they lost
I'm gonna
me
go commit
again.
suicide. I'll be right back.
Come
No,
back,
you
Flo.
don't commit suicide. I made it. I'm still here. The funny thing is, I got that reunification with my dad, and I remember coming back and cooking a chicken for him. But it was so bizarre. It was really weird. You know, just like the progression over like about 5 years, just strange. You know, and so we must look not at the dead. We must look at what occurs in our lives.
Yeah, and I
You know,
think the
whatever age.
courts, like for the most part, try to look at each individual circumstance as best they can. Flo, what were
But
you
they
going to
did
say
not
on
do
this?
well. Go on.
And advocate, like advocacy is important too. The parents need to speak up. The kids need. Everybody needs to fucking use their voice in this stuff too, and not just be
Yes.
passive
Yes.
participants in a system.
Yes.
That's the point of no fault divorce. It's why it became a thing, right? Was to keep the kids out of that situation and not have the kids to be used as pawns in the situation, right? That
Yeah, but they still have to
Right.
figure out where the kids end up
sure,
somehow.
but that doesn't
Right.
mean that the court needs to be the one that figures out who's at fault, right? When you're talking
Right.
alimony
But
and you're talking like big money cases and rich people
Yes.
cases, that's where the
Yes.
kids really get thrown
oh yeah,
into
I can't
the
really speak on
difference
that
between
part of
child
it.
support and alimony, right? And when
Aye.
it comes to child support, the judges don't want to fucking know. They don't want to be involved in all that fault bullshit. They just want to say, you two fucking work it out. Okay, no fault
Yeah, but
divorce
that's
is
not gonna.
taken
That's not
here.
always gonna happen, and the judge has a job to do. So regardless
That's
of what
right.
they want, they're there to do like
That's why the
I
perform
think
judges
you
a
order
certain
trust
function,
judges
and
too
they need
much.
to.
mediation. That's why mediation comes into it. Is that the courts will say, "Look,
Right,
you
but
guys
don't
fucking
trust
figure it out. It's
judges.
not our fault. You go figure it out with the mediator." Right? Mediators cost
Mm.
$100 an hour, straight up. Right? So you
Mm.
either figure
Well,
it
our
out or you
rats.
fucking keep paying money and you keep going
But when
back to the
you
mediators.
Well, at
Right? And then
some
you
right,
point,
but
the
when you
go
divorce
read
is
to
going to
the
happen.
judge with an
transcripts.
actual agreement. Right? When you have an agreement, then the court says, "Okay, let's use this agreement. Let's roll it for
Courts
6
think.
months." Right? And if it doesn't work for 6 months, let's amend it. But you're still married, right? No
Mm,
fault divorces take a year, at least minimum.
all right.
Okay. Sometimes you
Wow.
can get
Here
away
as
with
well.
about 9
All right.
months, maybe.
Yes.
This isn't a
Yes.
thing where chicks are just
Exactly.
filing for divorce, taking all the dude's money,
Hmm.
taking his Lambo and his condos,
Right.
right,
Right.
and running away with the
Mm.
kids and taking all of his assets. It's just not happening. It's just not the way it works, right? But that's the fucking trope that's being put out
If
there,
I were a
right?
judge,
As
I
red
wouldn't give
pill
the kids
bullshit.
to Jeff. Stop
I
it.
wouldn't want to know. Don't give them to me. I
No,
don't
you
want
I
them.
wouldn't
say,
want
listen
Not
them.
to
because
my
I
boy
plan to
Snoop
eat
Dogg
them, but
and my boy Dr.
Jeff,
Dre,
don't
right? And
worry.
the bitches
It
need
was
shit
funny
I
but
don't want to
though.
be
hoes
a
and tricks.
parent.
Ironic. Mm.
Nibble on the nips.
Flo, I want to hear what you have to say.
Go,
No,
Flo.
I've
Or
resigned.
no, you're dead. No,
No,
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
dead. I'm dead.
Bless you.
I'm deflated.
No, you're not.
I have no will to speak
No, you are
anymore.
a very valuable voice on this topic, and do not
Very
deprive us of
valuable.
it.
Oh
Please.
fuck. We were talking sex online on this,
Oh,
man, so
Leave me
soppy
down there. I'm
sod.
dead.
I don't want to leave you down there. I'm going to backstage Manel, if anything, so that you can have your voice.
I don't even remember what I
Hmm.
was saying. What was I saying? Oh,
I know
nobody
the taste
knows
of
because
your
Manel
taste
had to
bud.
tell her fucking story.
Well, hang on. We got somebody
okay,
new.
I remember
Very funny.
We got
Um,
Ricky Valentine,
the the
another
courts
dad.
now
Hey, Ricky.
in the U.S. they don't even approach it as a man versus women topic with
Well,
custody. They approach it as the child has the right to both parents.
right.
So the entire attitude is swiveled.
You think that sounds like a good thing?
It is a good thing.
It's child focused, at least.
Yes.
Oh, but children don't know what they need or want
The
at
courts,
that age.
no, they don't. They don't. That's why they
Yeah,
didn't. Well, they
courts
didn't ask
think.
my daughter. The courts
Yeah.
think that the child doesn't have a right to a good parent. It has the right to two parents, and
Right.
so it tries to do what it
Right.
can to keep both
I
parents
agree.
in the child's life.
Right.
And I think the courts try to get the parents to understand that they both need to step up and agree and be adults in the situation and find some terms
Right.
that can be agreed upon and live upon those. And every 1 to 3 years, you can amend those things, right? You can amend a divorce decree
Correct.
every year if you want to, right? But that's only if the non on duty parent, right, the non custodial parent needs to amend it,
Non-on-duty.
because otherwise they're just going to assume that
Yes.
it's okay. Right. So you got to be involved. And that's, I started a fucking divorce group here in town specifically for this reason, that guys are fucking bitches. When we get dumped, right,
Women
we have
are
a
bitches
tendency
too.
to
Come on.
be fucking bitches. A lot of guys don't fucking step up and own the fucking situation
True.
and say, look, yeah, she fucking left me. Okay. Sometimes things just don't work out. Right. And sometimes that's the better fucking
Aye.
thing that can happen in the situation.
That
But
was
the
my
more
Fatty,
you can
that's
point
one of the
own it,
earlier
most
on.
encouraging things I've heard.
the more you can own it and
But
just
that's
move
what I
on
said
from that,
earlier on, isn't it?
the better.
Isn't
And
it,
not
fat
involving
bastard?
kids
I
and all
said
of
that
that.
earlier
Leggy,
on. We agreed on that.
welcome, Leggy. You're a dad. You have kids. What are your thoughts on this?
Catch me up really quick. Give me a.
Like divorce and the family court system and all that.
Well, I know from being a stepdad, and my wife going through the custody shit with my kid's dad. And I say my kids because their dads are just just fucking sperm donors. So, essentially, they are my kids. So, I don't know. That piece of
Sperm
paper don't mean
donors.
shit. Ultimately, I mean, there's no at least here in the state of Maine, there's no real repercussions if you don't follow that custody order.
Oh,
You know,
right. Yeah, that's a good point. It has to be enforceable.
yeah, because like here, so like how I think I explained it before. My middle daughter, it was from Friday afternoon to well, it was originally Sunday, but then my wife had it amended because he wasn't following through, so it was Friday afternoon to Saturday at 7 at night. Well, he took it upon himself to go to school on a Thursday, take her out of school, took her out of school, and then didn't bring her back when she was supposed to. So she not only did she miss school that following Monday, I think she actually wind up missing Monday and Tuesday. Long story short is we called the cops. The court said it's a civil thing and you got to take him back to court. So ultimately, that piece of paper is worthless. Like it's not an enforceable fucking thing unless you go back to court, and then all that is tisk tisk tisk.
Aye, Ricky.
Shame
No,
on
it's
you.
not. You gotta go back to court. You gotta keep like taking bites out of the opponent.
Well, I mean, my wife, she did. I mean, the last time they went to court, she could have taken him for everything. She didn't. She just took. He had no visitations with the kid at all, unless he did certain things to gain him back, which he didn't do. But then he wind up deciding he wanted to drink and drive, and well, he bit the bullet, and well, he's no longer here. So,
Oh.
From drinking and
hey,
driving.
look, he was worth more
That's
dead to my
shit,
kid than
man.
alive. So, you know what I
Oh.
mean? Really? I mean, she gets
Sorry, it's
fucking.
dark here. It's late.
I mean, it still sucks. I mean, because I had to witness my kid go through that shit. But the same
That
sense is,
sucks, man.
I'm like, look, I mean, it just shows you he didn't fucking give two shits, and he rather drink and drive than fucking be part of your life. So there you go. Whoa, when I first
Manel,
started
you
dating
look
my wife,
creepy. That is a creepy silhouette.
when I first
Well, it
started dating
is
my
like
wife,
11 minutes to 11
Oh, wow. Okay.
in over
It's kind of
Scotland, so
cool.
it's dark here.
Adds to the atmosphere.
I've got
Rask,
rabbits. And I like to,
come up and chat if you want. I see you fight with Flo in the chat. Y'all come fight on screen.
I like what Lou just had to say there
who's
about
fighting? Anyone
in Tennessee
fighting?
the courts
Come
said both
on,
parents
let's
get
be
joint
nice.
custody.
Play nice, folks.
Oh no, we don't.
Josh, play nice.
We don't always play nice here. Go ahead, Fatty.
Josh.
I think what Lou was saying there with about Tennessee court said both parents get joint custody unless one can prove the other to be incapable, and that's a valid point because I think there's maybe only 7, maybe 10 states that have actual 50-50 custody where there's no child support involved. That if you can maintain your half of the time, they can maintain their half, that there's no need for child support. But still, the other 36 or fucking whatever states are going to say, even with 51%, right, that there's going to be somebody that has the title of custodial parent.
Yeah.
Right. That's where child support comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Alimony.
Yep.
Shit. I think it's like fucking not even 10% of divorces include any type of alimony in America anymore.
It's shit
Whether
for the
it's a
man,
fault
though,
state
isn't
or
it?
a no fault state. Right. So it's about
It's
about
shit
the
for the
kids.
man.
The courts do care about the kids more than anything
Yeah,
else.
but it's still shit
They
for
don't
the
want
man.
the parents fighting about stupid petty
Sorry,
bullshit.
it is.
And that's what ends up happening.
I know.
And that's what Flo's saying.
Right.
You have to amend shit. You have to use the process for what it was worth. And that's why it's there. You have to utilize those
You sound like El Perro.
amendments. Yeah.
You sound like El Perro. You know who El Perro is, don't you?
Yeah.
Fatty, you know who El Perro is?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you
and
kind of make the same
the thing
sense.
too,
Oh, no, I like El Perro.
Every situation
He's
is
a good
individual. And there's,
Mm-hmm.
And I think most men are good men, but even, down to what Ricky was saying there, that there's a real tendency for guys to just get fucking depressed and fucking start biting on the end of the 38 special, and that's...
Yeah.
Who's my pimp?
The courts, the state.
How is the courts my pimp? I won.
Yeah, now
I
you're the
won.
little bitch simping for them, is what he's saying.
That's harsh.
I'm sorry. You know what? The courts hate men. You can never do anything. You're a victim.
Yeah, they do.
You're a victim.
Why?
No,
No,
look.
you're a
This is
pussy and you're a
this is
whiny
how I
bitch. Hold
look
on, let
at
me
it.
talk to Raz. Raz, you have a victim mindset. You have an external locus of control. That's why you're a fucking loser, and you always will be.
I don't think that's I don't think that's true.
You have to say.
I
that
take
to
your
the
point, but I don't think
I
that's
mean, this is how I look at it.
necessarily
what do
true.
you call,
Raz.
what do you call a grown ass man
know.
who insists that he's a victim despite evidence?
Look, who's ever more prepared for court when that time comes, usually is going to wind up being the winner.
Yeah,
Like, let's just be honest. Like, my wife, the reason she's so successful is because she literally documents everything. If there was supposed to be a
Right.
time that there was supposed to be a meeting and he didn't show up, she wrote it down.
Exactly. That's
Gotta
what you have
keep
to
records.
do. Either side has to do that. Somebody like Raz will never do that because he's the less competent person.
That's the only way I got custody
that's
back
not
is keeping track
fair.
of
Come
every
on.
single time.
It is
Yeah,
fair.
but you don't know his
Come on.
story.
I don't
Every
need to
single
know his
thing.
story.
No.
I've interacted with him
Be
like for 2
fair.
minutes.
Right?
It's fair. Raz, go
But
ahead and come up here and keep insisting
My
that
mum
you're a
actually
victim.
documented every moment of her life because I read the letters. Oh, it was harsh.
I did for quite a few years, especially
Why
in
would
that
you read
point
all
in time.
that?
No. She died 2 years ago, and it was like she died like literally. I saw her on the Saturday. On the Tuesday, she was gone,
Hey, I shop at
and then a month
Kroger.
later, my dad was gone, and so I
fact-
just had to work it out all by myself in the manky house.
We're still
So,
doing that too.
Fascinating stuff.
Now,
Hey,
Raz, I have had a court-ordered psych evaluation, and I passed it, bitch. So I'm not insane.
bitch. Ooh. Well.
Done a few of those myself.
Yeah.
Pussycats. Hey, gatitos, tranquillo, señorito.
Mi
I mean,
nombre es el
You're a
guapo.
victim either way in life.
Mis
right?
hombres.
You're a
Sí.
victim either way in life. No. No.
Mike, come up here and
agree.
make it better. I just provide the
Aye.
space.
Yeah,
I let
Jeff.
grown people
Real
fight it out
easy
for
to get in
themselves.
that victim mentality.
I like that you're
Yes.
doing that now. You didn't used to. Like the last few months, you haven't done that.
I did. I've always done that.
You don't
Just
let me
don't
in,
tell
Mike.
Jeff what to do.
You know what? I'm just going to shut my mouth right now.
Well, you're in now.
You know
so
we
I'm
can't shut our mouths.
I can't.
Why were
to
we
save my
given
life.
mouths? So we may
Do you want to take
speak.
her off?
I was going to say oral sex.
Oh, meow, 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 meow.
Hey, I like a good shadow woman.
She's not a shadow woman. She's a spirit. Get it right. She's no longer has a body.
Even better.
I do have
She
a
does.
body.
What's that move? That horror movie, Lights Out,
I've
or
got a
something?
No, it's
fucking
Peter
body,
Pan.
mate.
It's Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Nah.
Little
No.
Pixie, Tinkerbell. Yep.
Wow, Risk. It sounds like we could all learn from you.
Man, I've been watching some of that shit, some of the biofuel production videos. You need to that's dope. You need to but I haven't ever done it. But I do have like a couple propane tanks that I cut the tops off of because there's materials I was going to make the you need to have something
Cool.
that can heat up
Combustion
material,
chamber.
but that doesn't have any air in it, so it won't actually ignite. Anyways. It's one of those rabbit holes that I was really interested in and started and then didn't ever finish.
I like the old Russian stoves.
Searching it now.
Old Russian stoves.
Yeah, it's like the Paper Street Soap Company. You just got to go to the
old Russian
liposuction plant,
stoves.
get those bags of human fat out of there. That human fat.
You
makes
heat
some
your
really
whole
good
house with an old Russian stove.
Human foot is
Just
delicious.
make
That is
sure
delicious.
you don't have any incendiaries around the stove. Only in the stove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who is it that blew up their house doing that? Was that Snappy?
Snaps.
I don't know.
That was
a
him.
hotel
His,
room.
surely
his
did.
cooking accident.
Yeah.
Someone surely.
How stupid do you have to be to blow up a hotel making drugs and it's not even meth?
I don't know. I feel like I could pull it off.
What? Tell me the story. Pray
Apparently
tell
he blew
more.
up.
That was
Actually, I don't think it's a true story because I've seen a background report on him.
Nah.
But
Ras,
probably
believe it or
been
not,
AI
Flo is kind of
shit, innit?
anti-state.
Flo state?
I know he's very anti-cop.
Of course he is. Good man. Mwah.
Yeah.
Pro-family court, anti-cop. He's a complex individual.
Good man.
I think he's just pro own your shit.
Salute you, sir.
Exactly right. Thank you, Fatty. I'm pro own your shit, and you're not owning your shit.
Oh, am
Right?
I allowed
I mean,
to
that's-
say this,
Yes.
Jeff?
I probably won't know until you say
Yeah.
it.
Wait.
You
Am
have-
I
You
allowed
have
to say this?
Usually,
Wait.
Yes.
Because I'm going to say it.
Do it.
Please do not
Don't get my channel struck.
disarm. Please do not disarm yourselves, gentlemen.
yeah.
Oh,
We
right.
in the British Isles are relying on your armament.
Oh, because we have
Because
2A.
you
Y'all don't have 2A.
are-
over
You
here.
know what?
You
I
are
don't need
our
a gun.
army.
I have police. The state takes
I got
care
my
of
pepper
me.
spray.
Joe Biden told me to take my shotgun outside and pump 2 rounds into the air.
I love you, Jeff. You're so sweet. Bless you. Trust me. When the
What
shit
do I
hits
need a
the
high capacity
fan,
magazine for?
when the shit hits the fan, we all, us motherfuckers, are going to come together. Because fuck them.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of people coming
Excuse
together.
my French.
Y'all are resting all your faith in the U.S.
I'm just looking forward to everybody coming.
No. No, I rest my faith in my fellow folk, my fellow beings.
Oh, well,
And
don't
that
rest
is
it in
nature
me.
as
I'm
well.
not going to be out there with
I think
my
that's
gun.
a real. I think it's a
Well-
common thing to do, but I say that's the most
You-
fucking
you
delusional
might
thing that
I
you
think
can
you should rest it in yourself.
Jeff,
Like, make your own plans.
You might be the Morseman. One moment. Jeff, you may be the Morseman. You may be the one sending the messages. You
Oh,
may
like
not
Paul
need
Revere?
to go
Like
into
Morse
the field.
code?
Yeah, I could do that.
My grandfather was a Morseman. Yeah, yes, exactly. He went from Berlin to Russia. He spent 4 years in a concentration camp. He was 6 foot something big. And when he came back, he was like a skeleton. Now, the Germans were not the Nazis. The Nazis were the Jews.
No, but I don't think so. I don't think societal collapse is coming. I'm not planning for it
Yes,
anyway.
because along the Rhine River, you are not allowed to farm. Because if you farmed along the Rhine River, and I've swam in the Rhine as a child, I am half German, and I'm proud. Along the Rhine River are many skeletons of men, mostly. They did not feed them, they did not water them, they watched them die, and then they buried their bodies. History is not ours, it's
You're
his.
It's
Whoever
his.
Let it.
wrote it.
We better let them have it then. Raz,
No, we must learn. We
I
must
know
learn.
that you are not responsible for your own shit, and that you have an external locus of control, and that you're a victim, and that you have a religious belief
I'm
that is
not
the
a
red pill.
victim.
Not you, not you. The
I'm
red
not
pill is a
religious.
religion.
I never
I'm
took any
not.
pill.
Listen
Hang on,
to me.
Manel. Let Flo
I
go.
am not talking to you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, please.
The red pill is a religion. This man down here is a zealot, and nothing I say will change his mind because that's the way that faith is. It's irrational by definition. So enjoy your life of victimhood. I extracted all that from our interactions. How did you figure out that I'm a statist? Because I think that you're the one who's speaking and not knowing anything about me.
I think you're both speaking out of ignorance, and you're both
Do you
going
think
off
that
of
I'm a
stories because
statist?
neither one of you know each other's story.
But I bet mine is more accurate than his.
More accurate in what way? As a story?
No, I bet that my assumptions about him based off our interactions is more accurate than his. What I'm saying is that I bet you're pretty polite, but I bet you know that he is way more of a victim and a bitch than I am a statist.
No, I don't know that.
Ooh. Ouch.
I don't know that. You know me. I don't make assumptions without
Yeah, you
evidence.
do. But it's all right. Come on up, Raz. Let's come
We
on
all
up.
do.
Let's talk.
We try not to, but we do
Yeah,
definitely.
Sorry.
we
I
do.
had to giggle. Hey, fat bastard, you gotta giggle sometimes.
Yeah, Risk, you can come up too if you want and tell us about this alpha lifestyle that all of
I
us
want to hear
betas
more.
are not living.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah.
I don't mind being a
Ugh.
beta because the
What
alpha
was
you're
that?
describing sounds like a lot
That
of
was
work that
dark.
I'm not going to do.
Uncle Fatty made that weird noise that I don't
Wasn't
know.
me. That was a dog.
I'm glad I wasn't wearing my headphones for that.
What is that green light on your microphone?
It's how I know it's my turn to
Oh,
Oh,
as
drive.
you
yeah, I see
talk.
that.
Okay, as you talk, it lights up. That's pretty cool.
Now it's off.
It's... Oh, here, let me drop your channel. Forgot about that.
Can you drop the Powder Dusty too? I'll get you the link to that one. I need like 30 more subs to be monetizable.
To hit 500?
Mhm.
That's it. Oh, wow, you did pretty good.
If I could sub you 30 times, I would.
And
I appreciate
feel
that,
free to
Best.
subscribe to this one if you're not subscribed yet. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I
I'm
should
telling
Yeah.
you, man.
Nice.
Okay,
Rhetoric
these two
is
channels
the
I just
spice of
posted are
life.
both flow states. So sub to each one of those if you can.
Sub to him. Even Raz, the little bitch. Maybe you'll learn something.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I used my backed child support card for my YouTube memberships because my kids are like almost fucking 30 now. You know what I mean? So like,
Wow.
no,
Yeah.
no, the ex quit paying her child support again. Now I got to use my own money for fucking
That's
YouTube
bullshit.
membership.
Oh.
I know it's fucking bullshit. It pisses me off.
Ugh.
But she only owes me like 14
That's
grand.
shitty, innit?
You know, if I'm lucky, I'll get it by the
Eee.
time the kids are fucking dead.
Well, how old is your
Yeah.
youngest kid? Why is she still paying child support?
Because she didn't pay child support for fucking
Oh, it's like
14
back,
years.
like from way back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's
at
harsh.
$280 a month, and now she's getting garnished. Now her
She's
disability
getting
checks
garnished.
get
Ooh.
garnished, right? And I get $100 a month from the state,
Sounds bad.
whether or not she pays it or not, right? But now that I've signed over the fucking, I basically was going to sign it off and just squash it, and the state said no, because they paid me so much in WIC money and welfare money and whatever else, and food stamp money for whatever the 7 years
Don't
that
you
I had
work?
it.
Like, don't you own a business?
That's fucking
Yeah, but
harsh, though, isn't
the
it?
first
When
3
you
years
think
I had the
about it.
kids, being self-employed was the best thing that I could have done, because working for somebody else, I would have been paying my money into the tax system. I would have been paying federal and state every month, and it garnished out of my check.
But
Being
when you work
self-employed,
privately,
You
Schedule
still have
C.
to pay federal and
there it
state.
the
is.
Schedule C was
There it
the best
is.
thing, because I can write off
Huh.
everything that I did. I can write off all my tools. I
Correct.
can write off all my expenses.
Oh,
write
and
off
it
my
offsets your
This man
taxes.
not stupid. This man very clever.
And by the time the kids got in towards closer to high school, then there was no more welfare money. Then I could claim the money that I was making and keep money in the LLC, but actually, pay myself in dividends, kind of like an S corp, like a small corporation, and still have all the write-offs and still have all the expense reports in the Schedule C. But it's a fucking game, and you got to play it.
Very clever.
Well, I
man.
might
You're
get
really
you to help
clever.
me with my taxes this year.
Absolutely.
You
I'm
should
not doing
listen
any
to
of
what
that.
he's talking about.
I love
He
cooking
ain't
books.
stupid.
Straight up.
This guy.
And cooking them legally.
And
not
Flo,
just
you're a dude, but seriously, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Who?
You should get together.
Who?
Flo knows what's up. I
Fatty?
wouldn't take anything.
They are
'cause-
together.
No, I mean
right now.
Flo and Fat Bastard have got two different perspectives of the system, right?
But it all comes
And
down to the
dealing
same
with
thing.
it.
It all comes down to the same.
and
Yes,
we
but
talk
when
a
you
lot.
get together,
Own your shit.
this is what blokes do. What's a round table about? It's when you come together and talk about shit that needs to be
This
resolved.
is how I know you don't watch my channel enough, Manel. Me and Uncle Fatty talk all the time.
Well,
And
I'm
disagree
going to
quite a
come
bit.
and listen to your
I
channel.
don't know why you.
No, I'm
exactly.
going to do that. I'm going to be doing that.
And Uncle
Because I
Fatty
like
too.
your perspective. Yes,
Thank you.
and
It's
him
great.
too.
My perspective is excellent. I
I
appreciate
know.
that.
I love to hear, because this is what, and I'm sorry, we have to do the inner journey to experience the outer journey. So when we look within, which is our own, wait one moment, when we look at our own individual journey, then we can comprehend what is happening around us. So when we come together and we exchange ideas and experiences and knowledge, gnosis, that has happened in our lives, then we become more powerful. Just simple as that.
Cognitive awareness, right?
Well, I love
Understanding that every
self-empowerment,
action we take
Exactly.
makes an effect on
Exactly.
everybody around us.
We're exchanging his opinion
Exactly.
more than anything else.
Yes.
And having
But
having conversations,
we don't have to agree on everything. Absolutely
Right.
not.
and not
We
everything is a
mustn't
debate.
agree on everything. Yes.
It's okay to come to the table and offer
I,
what you
I
can.
don't think he's
and
victim
allow
blaming
people to take
men,
them.
but I think that some men are not using their
I'm
full
explicitly
agency.
victim blaming you, Raz. You are the victim. You are the bitch. Don't try to spread this around to all men. I'm talking about
No,
you.
no, no.
You.
Yeah, but I don't
Flo
think
is
I don't
not
think
victim
I don't
blaming.
think Raz is necessarily a victim.
Okay,
I think
well,
you're making
I
a lot
mean,
of
he is right
assumptions
now.
there.
I'm victimizing him from up here, and he can't come up here and defend himself.
He can talk from the
Well,
chat.
come on up, Raz.
Not well.
Come on up.
I don't know why he wouldn't assert himself if
Aw.
he's not a victim. I'm sitting here calling him a bitch, shitting
Oh,
on his
you
name.
trying to get him to man up?
To anything.
Skate or die, dude. Skate or die.
Oh, look, he might be shy. Come on. He might
He's
be like
gonna
one of
what
the
I'm
rabbit
saying.
Yeah,
that
that's
likes to
that's
hide.
that's fine. That's perfectly legitimate way to communicate on here.
It's all
I
right.
probably had one of the best fucking snowboard runs.
We
of my fucking life.
comprehend.
One of the best.
Hey,
What?
say
Fatty?
again. Sorry.
Snowboarding
Flo?
runs.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Dude, I'm
What in
fucking on
it?
fire this year. Fucking killing it.
Mm.
snowboarding.
You gotta fucking
It's
know it.
Nice.
cold enough.
You want to be able to fucking tear shit up like this old man. You gotta fucking put in the time. You gotta be there building the fucking jumps and know exactly what's going on with
I'm
every
too,
fucking detail. You know, you
Alright.
can't just fly into fucking
Ooh.
shit just willy nilly and think you're gonna fucking stomp every fucking landing. And if you studied the
there's
fucking
no way I would
situation, right?
try a snowboard. I can't even skateboard.
Quite.
I don't need to be on a
I can
snowboard.
still skate. I can still do a
Actually,
kickflip.
I wasn't a skateboarder, but I did do ice skates, and I mean like all day.
Oof, that's even ice skate. I could barely roller skate.
Snowboarding.
I did
Oh
glissade
no, we
down
used
Mount
to
Adams
actually
with an ice
cycle.
pick.
No, we'd put our ice skates on with our skate guards, get on our push bikes, and then cycle to the meadows that
What's a push
had been
bike?
rained on and frozen solid like a paperweight, and you could observe everything that had
With
been
their birds in
frozen,
it?
like every
What is
frog and
what's a push
insect and
bike?
plant. It's a cycle, you know,
Like
that
a
you
scooter,
motor with your feet. A push bike.
just like a
Like a
bicycle,
scooter?
like a bicycle with
A
a.
bicycle. No,
Does it have
we were
pedals?
children. Come on. Yeah,
We're gonna have
and
to
we
consult
dumped
Just
Google
go
on
them.
this.
with
This
We
is some
dumped them
this
and then
is some
we
weird UK
crunch.
shit.
No,
Oh,
it's
I'm looking at
Germany.
one now
I'm talking
online.
about.
We just never had
It's
it's like a little
Germany.
tiny bicycle for
Why
kids.
would you have one of those? What is the point of that?
I don't know. We had tricycles. We
It's
didn't
just a
have these.
bicycle with no pedals.
Tricycles. No.
front
So
side pressure
we'd put
force
our
is
ice
most
skate
manual.
boots on,
This?
and then we'd put
Expand,
our
shove it out.
metal guards on, and then we would
Yeah, you're right.
cycle.
It
No,
has
they
no
weren't
There you
like
go.
that.
pedals.
They were nothing like that. Nothing at all.
Well,
They
what
were
were they
way
like?
bigger
This
than
is not
that.
a push bike.
But it's
Not
the
like
same
that.
build, right? It's the same,
Yeah, it's two wheels and a metal frame with
but
handlebars
no
and
pedals
a
and no
chain.
Maybe a
chain.
Scottish push bike. Are they different
Yeah,
in
and
Scotland? Let
pedals.
me see. Scottish push bike.
No,
Is
this
it
was
this
Germany.
thing?
It was
Oh,
Germany.
German engineering. Let's
Ah,
see.
German
You'd think
engineering.
Germans would figure out how to
No,
put pedals on
my
their
point
bike.
wasn't
This
the push
thing.
bike.
Oh,
It was the actual
this?
ice skating on the ice. The natural ice. We would spend all day. Once we dumped our bikes that we cycled with our ice skates and the guards on our blades, we would spend all day on the ice. And we'd have these beautiful blue skies. It was the 70s, the mid 70s.
Sounds
It was
cold.
gorgeous. Oh man. Oh, but it was dry cold. So we were all wrapped up in our stuff, you know, we were all nice and warm. We didn't feel the cold. When you're about 8 or 9, you don't feel the cold.
I am a
So,
victim. I'm a
and we-
victim of this story.
Yeah, but we would skate on this amazing paperweight
You're
ice.
doing it to me
I
again.
And
think we
when
all
we
are.
got bored of skating, Flo,
Stop torturing
we
me.
could
Stop
lay
Well, tell a
down
better
and we
one. You
would
have a
look
skating
at
story.
all
Quick,
the
quick.
frozen
It's like she's
creatures
putting her
that
cigarette
would
butt out
come
on my
back
arm.
in the summer. We would look at all the frozen creatures that would come
So
back
the
in the
first
summer.
time I ate chocolate pudding,
Fascinating.
Was it cooked or instant? Or was it a pudding pop? Did you
it was
cheat?
the kind that
No.
comes in the box. I don't know.
What you don't realise is when a frog gets frozen in ice, it doesn't die. What happens when it
What?
all melts, it doesn't die.
That
When it all
sounds wrong.
melts, that frog and all those little insects and plants continue to grow and come back to life. Don't believe me? Go look it up.
I'm skeptical that they
I
continue to grow in the
observed
ice.
this. This is my
Oh,
true education.
Mrs. Flo is saying she's right.
What?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mrs. Flo would know. She
Rudolf
does. She's all
Steiner
about nature.
is my only teacher that has ever been honest about anything that has happened in my life.
Rudolf Steiner, you said?
And I will continue. Rudolf
Did you say-
Steiner.
What about Manly Hall?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Manly P Hall. P Hole.
Manly P. Hopkins.
No, he's
Gerard
got
Manly
some
Hopkins.
really good bits.
Speaking of Manly, do we have anything else to say about
What
progressive men?
is the P? His P your favorite bit?
Well, it makes me laugh.
Fatty, you're a progressive.
Well, come on. Language
You
is
know what?
human.
I'm really
do
more
you
of a
like?
fiscal
Do you? Is
conservative.
it tied into your masculinity somehow?
It's his
No.
Who,
femininity.
me?
Protecting the vulnerable.
I've been sitting on the fence so long, I got slivers in my fucking throat.
Why?
I like that.
Rather just be a
like that
people
a lot.
watcher and a fucking contradictorian, but I'm really more of a fiscal conservative than any one of these fucking Republicans claim to be. I mean,
That's quite a turn from last time we talked.
really. But I'm a fucking hardcore libertarian. I think everybody has the right to individual liberty and the right to be whoever and whatever the fuck they want to be, and not be called out by some other asshole's god.
Well, everyone has the
really-
right to be called out, at least in America.
He's really
We can-
anti-religious.
That's
He
part of
mocks
free
the
speech.
out of religion.
100%. Yeah, I think religion is
Okay.
the absolute crux of what's the fault of all humanity. That we're being controlled by
Nah,
the
come
forces
on.
that
I would
we-
agree.
and those are the forces.
No,
I say
it's
free the
definitely
nipple, bro.
one of the
What about
main faults.
Tupac Jesus?
Yep. I
Absolutely.
agree.
I love that.
Oh,
Holographic
here
Tupac.
we go. Oh dear Lord.
Well, Jeremy's excited
Itchy
about
head
it.
now. I'm just
Mhm.
kidding. Go on.
Flo, are you streaming today?
Man, I probably will later. I need to get myself on an earlier schedule because my hours are so fucking whack.
You still
Uncle
have a
Patty's
job, like you're still doing a real job
Same,
and the
same.
streaming?
no, I haven't done. Oh, you know what? I was doing a real job a little while. No, I'm not. That guy started playing funny money with me, or trying to.
Ooh,
So, but
that's
it's all right.
nice.
It's okay. This is coming together, and the new channel I'm very close to being monetizable on, and the Flow State channel, I'm pretty close to being able to reapply for monetization. So, I might go from having no monetized channels to 2 pretty soon here. And even without monetization, like I've been making it work. I have to.
I've
I have
never
to suck
bothered
more
to try.
dick, but it works.
Hey, and you still have like Cash App and all those other alternatives.
Fucking knee pads are a little bit worn out, but hey.
Stop it, Flo, man. Fucking hell. Oh dear.
Tossing a freebie out to my
see-
haters. Clip that shit.
Tossing that salad all day long.
But see, I was online in like the early 90s, and then I had my first channel on YouTube was in like really early 2000s. And
Okay.
then I think it was 2007 or 2008 where my
Because
actual
YouTube didn't
channel,
start until 05, I think.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
So that would have been my first channel then.
First
She
But
had
I
her
was
first
already
channel before
online.
YouTube
Oh
existed.
no! Wait! No, don't be giggling now. I was online in 1992.
What were
When
you
it was
doing?
dial-up.
AOL chat rooms.
Yeah, AOL.
In
dial-up AOL.
1992,
Or CompuServe or whatever.
no, in 92, the internet was dial-up. So you had to call up with your phone.
Mhm.
And it was all this...
Oh my God, we were there. We've all
Stuff.
been there for that. You don't need to tell us this story.
She's bringing the story
You
to
were
life.
not there.
I was.
You
there
were not
too.
there.
I'm 38
Bullshit.
years old. I
How
He's
was
old
old
are you?
enough. Were you on AOL?
How
I'm
old
38.
are you?
I was on AOL.
Flo,
I
come
had
on.
an instant messenger.
Okay.
I remember the original Napster.
And MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace.
I didn't ever do
all
MySpace.
the crappy
I had,
ones.
I had a Zanga.
Yeah, I had a Zynga.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
They were weird
Raz, you're
times,
so
weren't
stupid. What?
they? What's he saying now? Can I see it, please? Jeff? I want to see it.
Oh yeah, I
We
wish
were
I
there
look
for
forward
that.
to this fight. Like I
know,
want
No,
you two to
doesn't
fight
make
it
you a
out
victim
because I
of the
think you have
government.
more in common than.
He's a victim.
separates
He's my victim. I said it. I called it from the beginning.
Oh,
Smart
thanks,
keeps
Risk.
calling you a victim.
I'm here every day. Although sometimes I take Sundays off. So yeah, definitely come back.
Yeah,
BBL.
it's a
Risk
good
is getting a
channel.
BBL.
There's
Weird.
always good conversation here.
Zentz, your your current notification is you've got mail. Oh wow, you are living.
You've got mail. Tell me
No,
again. I
Flo
wasn't
is
there for
definitely
that.
not government control. In fact, Flo and I have argued many times about his anti-government
Yeah,
stance.
for sure.
I'm just
I'm the one that keeps advocating trust in the system of the government more than anybody.
You think that, but really, I'm an undercover agent.
Gotta go.
Well, good. They were on the same team.
Oh, that's funny shit, man.
More government. Somebody needs to control these people. They're out of control.
Well, not more government, but just that the system is working.
We need
more or
more government,
less, as
more
it's designed
enforcement, more
for many,
gulags.
many
We need to
people. It
bring
doesn't
back-
have to be dismantled,
Internet
or
flow.
We need to bring
torn
back
down or
chain
ripped apart.
gangs.
Just use it. Like people can still use the system to meet their goals.
Gouvernementis, mind
You're gonna love the next
control.
4 years, bro.
Right,
Yeah.
we are in a
Govern the
time of
mind.
chaos and
Govern the
unpredictability.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
I already own
You got
nothing,
already
and I'm
billionaire
pretty
Oh,
much
anal
happy.
swab.
Why not?
Anal swab.
The Weffy. Yeah, the Weff.
I
Oh,
feel
they
like
smell
you're
really
saying
bad.
dirty shit to me and trying to
Whiffy
play it off like
Weffy.
it's German.
The Whiffy
Free
Weffy.
prostate exams on Wednesdays.
Every day is prostate exam day for me.
See, anyone comes near me with a needle, I kick.
What
I
kind of needle? A
scratch.
knitting needle? What
And
kind
I
of needle?
bite.
What if it's got fent in it?
I'll still kick, scratch, and bite. I don't fucking give a shit. Don't come near me with needles
Would that stop a
or
needle?
pills or any of that shit or powders. Ugh.
Potions.
Well, what do you do? God, you must have a boring
Yeah.
life. I don't know what you do for fun then. If like
Oh
Swap
no,
smoke
no.
frogs,
See,
are you
I have
drinking?
these
frogs,
wonderful
ice
things.
melt out of the ice.
I have these wonderful things. These things. See this? See this?
Fuck is
Can't
that?
see anything. What is
Things
that?
Is that a fetus in a jar?
I have things like this.
Nuggets.
Where is it? Nugget.
That's definitely a Xanax.
No, it's fucking green, boy. Nice.
Oh, then it's an Opana.
Oh, and I have some more over here
Is it absinthe?
in another jar. Different strain.
Little Smurf
Hey, look.
houses.
Where is it? There it is.
The
Look.
Smurfs
If
were
you think
communists.
green
Nom,
is
nom,
good,
nom, nom,
wait
nom,
till
nom,
you
nom, nom.
try white.
Nom 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 nom.
Blue is better.
Okay.
It's all grown locally.
Blue is stupid.
I'm
Blue
saying-
is food coloring because of a fucking trendy ass show.
No, this is our companion plant. For
Not
fuck's
in
sake,
those.
boys.
What is that, fatty? Popcorn?
Guys in Spokane are doing these hybrid cross-strained mushrooms. That
Ooh.
are
I thought that was a
absolutely
mycelium.
Insanely fucking potent.
Mm.
Oh well.
Are you taking the?
Maybe they could
I'm
cross
just-
some of that potency with Raz down there so that he could be less empathetic.
You are, dude. You are obsessed. You're starting to make his case for him.
Well, I'm getting
He's
ready to
gonna
leave.
break
I just
down those
need to
neural
get a few
receptors,
kicks
you know?
before I go.
Free your mind, man.
Oh dear.
Free your mind.
You want to
I
get a
might
few more little
add,
claws in?
There are some
I've got to, 'cause I know
really
that he's gonna talk
good-
shit when I go, so I got to get a few last shots in for the road. And Fatty just
Go
threw
on,
that
go on,
alley
go on,
oop.
go on.
Well, here
All
he's
right,
getting.
please.
He's doing.
No. That's it. Fine. You
No,
win,
no,
Raz.
it's
You
not.
win. You're outlasting me.
Do you have
Oh my
you have your
God.
daughter full time, right? You're a full time dad.
Yeah.
So
I have
you're
full
both
custody.
full time dads. You're both.
I think that Raz
like
is
dad-
focusing
Oh, yeah.
on you. What, Flo?
Bro,
He's focusing
I got
on you.
I got sole custody of my daughter
some
when she
weird
was
reason.
2. Legal and residential. Talk out of your ass much.
Right. So you dads
And-
get along and support each other.
I got sole custody of my daughter when she was 2. I can't stand fucking cops. I think all taxation is theft, and I'm not allowed to own guns. So
And the war on
suck a
drugs is
dick.
the biggest fucking
The war,
scam
all
ever
drugs
pulled on
should be
humanity.
legalized. Every last one of them.
Yes,
No,
you are.
Oregon tried that. It was not
No,
a success.
Oregon tried
I'm with you,
legalizing
Flo.
all
You
crime.
know I am. I
all
always have
crime.
been.
The issue isn't that they
Kinda.
legalized drugs; it's that they
Man.
legalized crime.
No, they
And they didn't
decriminalized
implement it.
all drugs.
I'm leaving before I get caught up in this.
Indeed.
Bye.
Yeah.
Fatty,
Oregon did a
Aw.
fucking piss poor
You have
job
any-
of implementing
Oh,
any of that. Yeah, no.
what a shame.
you have any
Look,
wisdom you want to leave us
Nah,
with?
not only legalize
But
all drugs, but legalize prostitution and unionize the hoes.
So legalize all
I agree.
vice and what else?
Power to the bitches.
Power.
So,
Absolutely.
No, well, I don't know about that. I think
uh,
the bitches have the upper hand lately. I think
Unionize the
it's
hoes, man.
Unc
Unionize them.
Fatty,
I'm telling you what. Get
Unc
OSHA
Fatty,
involved and see what happens.
may I please tell you a little story
a
from when
little
I was
tiny one,
14?
I love
Ti-
stories.
A
Are we talking about
bite
teeny,
size.
there's a
teeny
itty
tiny? Are
bitty
we
bitty
talking about
bitty
my
bitty
dick?
one.
Yes, just
When
a
I
little
was
bitty one.
14,
Nice.
I was prostituted on the streets of London,
Whew.
and I didn't even know it when it happened.
Okay, why did you have to drop this at the very last minute? I am fascinated how someone cannot know
You
that.
already know this about me. Come on,
I
Jeff.
don't. I don't know how you cannot know that. That.
I've never hidden any of my life from anyone.
Well, we'll have to talk about it
I've
another
always been
time. But
honest,
this is.
but this is truth. And this is also about grooming. And this is why I continue to speak out about taking care of your children and your family. Because the police
Man.
knew, they knew in the 80s, because we used to speak to them. They knew us girls, they knew what was going on. They did nothing.
Well,
What could they have done?
I'm
Well,
not
we
going to
know
draw
what the state
conclusions
record.
about all
I'm
police
still
everywhere from
here.
that.
And my
Right.
point is that we do not get destroyed, we become stronger. And if we show our family structure in our community throughout our world, then they cannot touch us. And they will not touch our children, our old folk, and anything in between.
Hopefully,
I
yeah, not the
promise
old
you.
folk. Oh God, hopefully.
Oh, they've done that already, but we need to be strong together. This is when I talk about my life, I am not talking just about my life. I am talking about all of our lives, because I met
Because we're all connected.
women that had very big houses. They were much, much older than me. They had children, and whatever their story was, their husbands, for some reason, had failed them, shall we say. Not all men do this, but some do. They had to provide for their children, pay their mortgage. They sold their bodies. That's all
Well,
they
I
had.
still
They
say
were
there are other
beautiful
choices
women.
because not everyone in that situation is
No, they had
doing
no
that one
choice.
thing.
No, some
I
of
don't
them had
believe in no
no.
choice. Adults have choice. Whether they
This was
want to
the
own the choice,
80s.
acknowledge the choice, they have the
It was the
choice. And you know
80s.
how I know this? Because other adults in the same exact situation are making
I
different
know.
choices. So that choices exist.
Yes.
Options exist.
But at that time and in their circumstance, they did not. Right? We
I
cannot
don't
equate
believe in
everything.
passive. That's victimhood mentality. I have no
No.
sympathy
That's
for
not
it
what I'm
whatsoever.
saying,
These
Jeff.
are grown adults.
Wait, one moment.
They're making choices. You're never going to convince me they're
Yes,
not
but we
making
cannot
choices.
equate everything to ourselves, our perspective,
I'm
and
not. I'm
how
talking
things
about
happen in
them.
our lives. You
And
know,
while our
their
personal
life may be
experience
very,
isn't the
very
norm,
different.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
yes, and it probably is different, but they still have agency. They are still using their agency to make choices, regardless of how different it is.
Okay, I was a 14-year-old when I met them. And all I'm telling you is a story of things that happen in our world. They continue to happen. They are happening, whether we believe it or
like
not, or
systemic
like it or
racism.
not.
Yeah, it
Pardon?
probably does happen here and there, but I don't think it's
No,
Systemic.
it's happening
the,
a
the
lot. A
well,
lot.
there's no way to really
I mean,
judge.
really a lot. And you will find that possibly in your country, it's actually happening a lot more, because there are way more desperate people in America than there are in Britain. You know, the
There's just more
populace
people.
is smaller, so it's relative. You know, you've got to look at all the factors. I'm not stupid, but these things are occurring. And so as these women and men, because men are also being prostituted. And this is where I wanted to talk about that, because I met boys too. Okay. People ignore the fact that young men and boys are being also used in these fashions. And I'm being polite. They
Again, they're
also
not
have
passive
children.
victims, and I don't think people are ignoring it. I just like, what do you want the rest of us to do
Well, I
about
think
it?
they
It's not
are.
something that we're gonna
Look,
focus
people,
on like through our
if
day-to-day
someone has a
lives.
fall, no, okay, I'm going to use a really simple example. If you are walking down the street, someone has a fall, and there's a lot of other people, observe who goes to help that one that has fallen. You're going to
Yeah.
find that there may be, out of say 20 people, maybe 2 or 3 might go help.
Maybe one.
Maybe.
I don't
But
see a lot of
sometimes there
people
are more.
falling on the street, honestly.
Well, there are
It
things
almost
that
never
happen.
happens.
It's an example. This is not, I'm not being like,
But
And
this
here's
is
an
not
if
an
I
analogy.
saw
exact.
someone fall and I was nearby, I would probably go see if they're okay and need
But you
anything.
are different because you have empathy, and so does Fatty, and so does
Yeah.
Flo,
You
Yeah.
think?
right?
I
And
mean, I would
so
say
do
most of
many of the
society
others.
does, but it's
Mm.
a
It is that little percentage that has got some twisted, fucked up shit
Yeah,
that
there's
goes,
there's
nah.
sociopaths and psychopaths. They're out there. We all know this. It's a small fraction of the
And
human race.
sadly, they're
Is
in
always
positions of,
we're always going to have that. But what's the larger
yeah,
takeaway?
but the point is they are in positions of power.
Yeah,
And my
some of them
point
probably.
is
Yeah.
that when I was being, and I wasn't the only one, there were other girls just as young as me being prostituted, the police did fuck all. And they
Well,
knew.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, you got Trump to fix it all. No, don't be sorry. I'm still
Well,
here.
I am. I mean,
You
I'm
know,
sorry
I'm
that
good.
they didn't do their job and do something about it.
Well, they're still not doing their job. That's my point, is that nothing has changed at all. In fact,
Well,
it's worse.
I think there are many places where they are, and they are preventing
And I
stuff like
think they're
that. So I
actually
don't want
more
to take too much
widespread
away
now.
from this one story.
No, it's not. It like I said, it isn't to do with me. But I will always keep talking about grooming, prostitution, especially of the young, right?
Okay, but it's such
And
an
it's
like
like,
what are the rest of us supposed to do about it? We know it exists, we know it happens, we know it's
well,
out there, all kind of bad
what
shit
you can
happens, but
do is you can be
ordinary people that
aware.
are just going about living their lives, what
Well,
are
we're
we
all
supposed to do
ordinary
about any of that?
people. I'm an
Especially if the
ordinary
cops are not
people.
even doing anything.
Well, then
Like
we
I
must
understand trying to raise
become
awareness, but what are the action
the
steps as a
cops.
result?
Am I right, Faye?
recognize,
We become the cops.
understand,
No, I don't.
accept, and then change.
We have a system in place to take care of that. I'm not. You know me. I'm not a big fan of vigilante
No,
justice.
we do not have a system. The
We
system
do.
is
We do. Whether
completely
you think it's
corrupt.
working or not is a different question. But this,
Right.
we have a system of laws that
No, it's
exist.
corrupt. It's completely
Well, that's
F.
your opinion,
It's
but I'm not
breaking
giving up on
down.
the system
But you
just
still
because
got to
you think it's
recognize what the
corrupt. So
system
if
is.
that's the whole,
Oh,
if that's what you're
Jeff.
trying to like raise awareness of, I'm not buying into
No.
that.
Like, so I'm going to say something. I was raped when 10 days after my 19th. The police were amazing. I mean, they totally amazing, right? They supported me. And even some decades later, because that was in the 80s, in the early 2000s, they were going to release this guy. And he'd affected over 22 families. Not just me. So the story is not about me. I met with CID blokes, right? They came and met me in my village in a pub down in England, right? Because I called the paper and I said, you can't fucking let this. I didn't say that. I didn't use any F's. I said, you cannot let this man go out in public and interact any shape or form on any public service vehicles, working in any shops. Many of the women have killed themselves. Many of the families are broken, right? Over 22 families. Mine was one of those 22 families. And I will never, ever stop speaking out against this corruption that is in our system. The system does not work. It is a piece of
It works
shit.
for a lot of people. It doesn't work
No,
for
it does
everybody
not,
100% of the
Jeff.
time, but
No,
it
it
works
doesn't
for
work.
enough people that there's no
No, it
reason to
doesn't.
give up on it
What
yet.
it
It works
does,
for the
it
people that
hides
recognize what it
more
is and
corruption,
work the
and it
system.
lets them get away with more pedophilic, disgusting, nasty,
Okay, well that's a very dark world you live in.
transgender.
I don't share your view.
No, but it is in your country. It's prolific in your country.
Okay.
It
Well,
is.
do you have anything else to say before I wrap up?
But we, like I said before, when we come together and we tell about what prospectively and respectively from where we are, what is happening. When we are true and honest, we come together, we exchange. Respectfully, I have no disrespect for you, but we must continue to speak out about what is happening in our areas of our world. Right?
Okay.
That is very important.
I can agree with that. Sharing experiences is very valuable.
Sure. I have no problem with that.
We can't let our own personal experience, our own individual experience be the exception to the rule, right? Be the rule.
Correct.
Right? And that's the hard part that humans have is looking at our surroundings doesn't mean that anybody else experiences that. The system is what it is. You have to recognize what the system is to be able to utilize the system to your benefit.
Yeah, the system is us.
I agree
it's
with
people.
that.
It's we
Yes,
are the
yes,
system.
yes, yes.
So
And as corrupt as it is for some
but
aspects,
we must rebuild it.
Doesn't mean that you can't use that system for your benefit, and that's really what's kind of the downfall of fucking.
I don't know. I find the system more or less it's worked for me and my goals and what I've needed to do with it. So I haven't found it to be.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it works for who works it.
I'm
you got to work the
quite
steps
impressed
for them to
with it,
work.
actually.
Yeah.
Can't never
I
did
think
nothing,
we need
right?
to also bend it so it works more naturally because it seems very artificial.
And there's it is
to me.
artificial because it's designed. It's a
Right. Well, then we can
humanly
change that
designed
by making it more
system.
natural.
And we have a
Because we
political
are
process
nature.
to do that. We have a political process to do that. It
No.
involves the
No, the
political will
political
of
process
all of
will
us.
not do that.
Well,
It will not solve that problem, sadly. But I know where you're coming from. I respect your
the
perspective.
system's going to do whatever we collectively as a species decide to do with it. It's not an animate object with a life and mind of its own.
Right,
It's
well,
controlled and
I'm going to be one
determined
of
by
those that will
us
not.
as humans. Fatty, you have anything
I'm one
you
of.
want to leave us with?
I will not be complying with that system. Go on.
No comply. That is a
No
very
comply.
technical and very hard skateboard move to pull off.
I no comply.
Tell you what.
No comply.
I mean,
I will not.
as far as it goes, just fucking be excellent to each other, man. Just be excellent
Yes.
to each other.
Yes.
But you can't be excellent to each other if you're not being excellent to yourself. And you do have to be selfish in life. You do have to watch out for number one, right?
Yes.
Because when you just fucking try to appease everybody else, then you are the system, right?
Exactly.
We're not responsible for the programming we receive as children. Recognizing the programming for what it is, whether it's systemic programming, whether it's individual, whether it's fucking whatever it is, recognizing the way that we grew up and the things that we were taught in not nefarious ways, right? Just societal norms, right? Recognizing what those norms are, accepting them for what they are, and changing what needs to be changed is the fucking hardest part of all humanity. Because each individual person has a different experience, and we each think that something needs to be changed in a different way, right? But we have to be able to come to the table and lay things on the table and have conversations that aren't debates, and have conversations that aren't my way or the highway situations, right? And be able to learn from each other and not be so fucking standoffish with our own this is my experience and this is the way things need to be and ought to be. The ought to be's need to be thrown out the fucking window. Anybody that says ought to be needs to be punched in the fucking nose.
Oh Lord, that sounds
Because your
violent.
I love it.
your ought, right?
For a while there, it
gorgeous.
sounded like you were advocating
ought
for
fucking
democracy
brilliant,
instead
man.
of that punch in.
Like your ought, Jeff, is
Hey,
different than my
Fatty,
ought.
what's your
but we can
channel
agree-
name?
We can agree, right, that
Here, I'll
everybody
Definitely.
has their own way of
No,
of determining
I'm in
what
the.
ought
I
is.
can't. I'm on a silly tablet, Jeff. Just sorry.
Yeah,
Please
don't follow me.
continue.
You won't make it.
No, I just like what you're saying, man,
But you
Here's
know,
because it
Fatty's
makes
channel.
sense.
Yeah,
each
it's great
individual has
that
their
in
own
a
personal responsibility.
open liberal democracy like we have that we can do all of that. I think it depends on our ability to come together and have those conversations.
Right.
So I agree.
And
Yeah.
understanding,
Except
especially
for
in
the
America,
punch
I
bro,
love it.
in the face
everybody
part.
has the right to
Really
exist.
good.
You know, and
Josh.
whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, there used to be a time, bro. There used to be a time not too long ago when the good Christians of this country would say things like, "You do you, just don't hurt me physically."
Mm.
Right?
I think
That if
most of the
I'm
Christians
bothered-
I know still operate
yeah,
that way.
I mean, I think so too.
I'm not
The good
per
Christians
se
here
a
where I'm at say
Christian,
things
but
like
maybe I am
my
a
God doesn't
Christian
create
at
such
heart.
things. My God doesn't create such creatures.
Quite.
You know, bullshit.
Quite.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're offended by
agree.
what somebody else is doing in their life, you need to fucking check yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, pure democracy can degenerate into mob rule, but at least in the U.S., we're a constitutional
Mhm.
federal republic, so we're not a pure democracy, and there's
Britain
enough
isn't
And
any
we got a bunch
better.
of
checks and
billionaires.
Trust
We
me.
balances
got a
on it
bunch of
so
billionaires
far
getting
to
ready
keep
to
it.
be fucking
Britain is
sworn into
no
office.
better.
So
Hang
we'll
on
see
real
over the next
quick. I'm
couple of
trying to
years, bro.
wrap up, but we got somebody in the back named Foundational. I can't see the full name. Why White something? Anybody know them? And you have to cam up. You have to put your camera on so I can see
No,
that
I
you're a
don't
person.
know.
Need to get you a new
Bless you,
XL
Jeff.
overlay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
You're
some new
right,
streaming
though,
services too, which I
Fatty.
think have
You're
better
totally right.
troll
Yeah,
filters.
You're right.
there
man.
is there's a few that I've been using too, just kind of
I
off and
salute
on.
you
But
anyway.
Which
Look,
ones?
look, that YouTube makes it really difficult to find channels anyway.
oh yeah,
So even if you did, what's your channel name?
Uncle Fatty.
Oh,
Yeah, I
right, okay.
posted it in the chat,
Right.
but just
I might find.
search
What's your
Uncle Fatty
avatar?
on YouTube. It'll come up.
What's your picture?
I don't know what it is right now. I forget. I always change it.
You don't know what it is right now.
It's probably a fucking big fat
Well,
donkey.
mine-
Right
smoking.
now, it's a purple
A big
bunny
fat
with green
donkey.
letters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
What is
So
it?
go find the bunny.
Fat
Oh,
ass
it's a
production.
bunny. It's a bunny.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's like a.
Well, I've got two of them here in my house. Two
Oh, yeah?
boys. Piker and Rompshire.
the little rabbit.
Two. Because they wouldn't
Two of
just
them?
let me buy one. I had to buy two. So it got really expensive.
They force
but
you to buy
they're-
two bunnies.
They're really cute. And they little
Oh,
fuckers,
Lord.
though, early
Why
in the
do I
morning.
keep starting
Fuck
these
me,
stories?
they go round the cage doing a
Yeah.
marathon. Bravo. And people
Well,
go to
that
me,
being said,
you
it's
should
cocktail
really
time for
chop
this
their
old boy.
knackers off. And I went, I'm not
Okay,
going to
take
desex
care,
them.
Fatty. I'll see you.
Sure. It's always good to see
See
you
you later.
guys.
See you, Fatty.
Yeah.
All right,
don't do no
Manil, I'm
smile.
wrapping up.
All right, no one. No worries. Sorry.
Let me find another panel I could send everyone to. Cheesehead's on. He doesn't stream very often, so why don't you all go check out
I
Cheesehead?
can't. It's
Good to
nearly
check
quarter
yourself
to
before
midnight.
you wreck yourself. Good advice.
There's Cheeseheads. You can go
Nice
say hi to
combo,
him.
though.
I might even head over there myself. And
All right, man. Nice one. Thank you.
you too, Manel. Take
Blessings. Toodles.
care. Toodle. Okay. All right, that is it for me today. Probably won't be out tomorrow, but I'll be back Monday. Hang on, let me check my schedule. I should be at the usual time. Yeah, Monday I'll be out at the usual time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. I might do a spontaneous stream here and there before that, but I'll definitely be out there. Thanks, Jeremy. Good to see you too. I'm glad that I'm glad that people are getting something out of this. So I'll keep doing it. Have a good rest of your weekend. Oh yes, and we're still continuing our David Lynch marathon. So today we're doing Mulholland Drive in the Discord later today. So if you want to join us, keep an eye on the movie channel. And then tomorrow I'm going to do Inland Empire. So we'll continue with our David Lynch marathon. So other than that, I'll see you Monday for sure. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. And we'll do it again. All right, take care. Oh no, you're thinking of Mulholland Falls. Mulholland Drive is the David Lynch movie with Naomi Watts, Justin Theroux, Laura Herring, I think her name is. So we'll be watching that one. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, it's one of his best, I think. So we'll be doing that tonight. All right, peace out, everybody, and see you next time.